Oh, oh no, it's saying we're.
Oh,
It's,
Perseverance.
Are we
okay.
good?
is it?
We are now streaming,
How exciting
and I will
Yay!
send the link.
to
I
be
will.
shared.
Ta-da! All right, I guess Kelsey, you're the host, honey.
I am. I'm hosting. Look at me go. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelsey Davis. We are the Not Ready for Quarantine players. We're here tonight to read Girl Interrupted. Just massive trigger warning. This movie deals with a lot of really strong themes, a lot of really big issues, and pretty much it addresses mental health head on because it's written based on a book written by somebody who experienced it. It's autobiographical. Tonight, we are raising money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I'm sure we all know somebody who has experienced an impact from someone either, you know, we're not going to get into all the ins and outs. We'll get into that later. But we've all experienced it in one way or another, someone having to make hard decisions and what have you. I'm the worst host ever. It's fun.
You're doing
I've
great.
never
You're
done
a
this before.
great
It's
host.
being great. It's awesome. So we're gonna jump right in, I guess, and then we'll do introductions as a congratulatory after, or do we want to have everybody just introduce themselves, or I can introduce them?
I mean, we can just kind of quick intro everybody, and
Yeah.
then we can probably just dive right in
Okay.
if that's
I'm
okay.
gonna go
Might be
based
helpful
on
to.
the character listing. So we have Danny as narrator. Yay. We have Michelle as Susanna. We have Liz as Lisa and a handful of other people. I'm Kelsey. I'm going to be Daisy and a big handful of other people. We have Sean, who is Georgina, and another handful of people. We have Ginger, who's Polly, and more people. Cadaver, who is Tobias, and more people. Andrew, who is Melvin, and again, more people. And then Jada, who's joined us last minute. Thank you very much. Who is Val and however many people we get through while we have them. So great. Let's.
Um, before, I just want to really quickly kind of dedicate this. I found out like this afternoon that one of my cousins that attempted to end their life several years ago, they suffered a severe brain injury, but they succumbed to those injuries today. So I wanted to dedicate this reading to Matt Bunyak. So, but we can go on.
We can't go on.
Um, well, I will make before I start the narration, another general, like an echoing of what Kelsey said. Some of the actors tonight, and some of the narration will be portraying or describing characters with conditions that a lot of us may or may not have. However, we chose this script to highlight a lot of equally pressing issues. While we've been thoughtful of the harm that can be folded in past media, we've tried to work to reduce this where possible. Having said that, the script of Girl Interrupted contains depictions and speaks of a lot of triggering situations, uh, such as sexual assault, coercion, and manipulation from power, self harm, including unaliving oneself, and various abuse, both physical and mental. Some of these triggers are so embedded into the script and society presented that it's really difficult to identify when to label a scene with a warning. However, these amazing humans have done a very good job of marking a lot of these scenes in the script. So I will do my best to advise of triggers within scenes so you can choose to mute the section of the reading based on your needs. The first scene does depict suicide and forced medical treatment. If you do not wish to proceed watching at any point, we understand, but we hope you'll still consider donating to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Otherwise, definitely, we will see you next time. I'm going to see if I can share my screen real quick. Sean, I think it'll still give me permission. Y'all are going to see my lovely Facebook messages, but I'm going to go through a couple resources we have. First is the National Suicide Hotline. This is something that you can text. You can also call this number. And then we have NAMI St. Louis, which has a helpline that's open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then we also have this is the Trevor Project. A lot of you may know that they work specifically with the LGBTQ community, specifically the trans community. They have a calling and texting availability. And then the St. Louis Queer Support Helpline is available at this number from Friday to Monday, 1 to 7 p.m. Central Time. It's very hard to go through a lot of that on slides, and I very much realize that. So we also have a handful of us who spoke before that are willing/trained to help process any feelings that may come up during the script reading. And I'm just gonna have everyone, can you just like show of hands if you were part of that conversation? So there are a handful of us, and we are all very aware that we've gone through some tough stuff together as a script reading group, but we have also been able to open conversations about some really important topics. So now I will stop being long-winded. And here we go. 1969 at dawn. Wind rattles the frosted glass. We're looking out at an open transom through steel mesh. It's a hazy winter with snow-covered grounds. A spider crawls across the mesh. We pan over into a dark tiled basement, and the sound of a cat purring can be heard, and a person breathing. We pan over to see past rusting pipes as they drip. A furnace, licking flames behind sooty flesh. We pan over past a cracked door to a darkened bowling alley, perhaps a hotel. We see sunlight hitting a puddle, and a hypodermic needle glistens. Light ripples. We see Susanna's eyes. They fill the screen, very big, brown, raccooned with exhaustion. Her brow is moist and grease-smudged. One of her hands is bloody and curled against her chest, and the other hand moves, petting an unseen cat which purrs. We move down. It is not a cat. It is another young woman, blonde and lazy-eyed with her head in Susanna's lap. She purrs with every stroke of her yellow hair. She fingers a beaded necklace that spells her name, Lisa. The tinkle of broken glass. Susanna turns, a red-haired girl in a smock. Barefoot and bloody, she sweeps glass into a pile, muttering in sing-song.
Snip, snip here, clip, clip there, and a couple of la-di-das. That's how we pass the day away in the merry old land of Oz.
The red-haired girl picks up the hypodermic, daintily from the end like a dead bird.
Here they come,
she says. Susanna turns. Footsteps echo, heels and loud, down the dark hall of pipes. Figures approach in a nurse's coat. A person of color, an orderly follows with a flashlight. Behind the furnace, blue eyes rise. Blue, watery eyes set in a face of curdled leather. It's a girl, horribly scarred and crying in the shadows. Her leathery hands wrapped around a gray cat. A real cat this time. It leaps from her hands to the transom. Susanna's eyes follow the creature. It lands on a crate, tail swinging and staring at the spider. Susanna watches. Her voice is lush and calm.
People ask how we got in there. What they really want to know is if they're likely to end up here as well.
Dawn light caresses Susanna's face. A phasing whir rises.
I can't answer the real question. All I can tell you is it's easy.
Suddenly, white hands grab Susanna's head.
It's easy to enter a parallel universe.
Two other hands thrust a tube up her nose, down her throat, pushing her face netherwards to a stretcher. There's a white light. We are now in a crowded 60s emergency room at night. A lavage pump whirs. On a stretcher, a younger, pale Susanna vomits into a basin. She's rolled onto her back, eerily conscious. She pulls at the tubes, trying to sit up and gagging.
I'm okay.
Hold on, dear.
5 milligrams Valium.
The doctor restrains her. The nurse fastens the restraints. The pump continues sending water down her throat. Susanna chokes and pulls at the straps.
Ow.
A needle pokes her arm. A nurse is drawing out blood. Another needle. A nurse injecting Valium.
Ow.
A resident takes the basin and examines the contents. It is filled with pill fragments. Clear liquid. He leans toward the ER door.
Aspirin fragments and vodka, I think.
Don't tell me what you think. Take it upstairs.
Susanna looks to a concerned man, 45, in the corner. Arms crossed, he wears a tweed vest and a goatee. He smiles sadly at Susanna, uncomfortable. The lavage pump winds down and the doctor pulls the tube. He takes Susanna's tongue in his fingers. Busk. Susanna gags, looking helplessly into his eyes.
Ugh.
The doctor does not react. They release her tongue and spread her fingers, looking closely at them.
What did you say, dear?
The doctor checks Susanna's arms for track marks. Notices a bruise on her wrist.
A wrist banger.
I said he's right. It's aspirin.
I still have to check for track marks, young lady. Any signs of drug abuse. Attempted suicide is a felony.
Really? What's the punishment?
Your parents are on the way.
Look at my hand. There's no bones in it.
Is that why you did this? Because there's no bones in your hand?
Close on Susanna, bleary, glancing at the man in tweed. He nervously shifts.
And other things, it's hard to say for me to stay in one place.
There's an off-screen voice.
Susanna, if you had no bones in your hand.
Susanna turns groggily to face the voice, and we cut to Dr. Crumble, a shrink in his 50s.
How did you pick up the aspirin?
He sits in a comfy chair waiting an answer. Reverse on Susanna, dark-eyed in a less comfy chair. She wears a black turtleneck, black tights, and a black mini. Her slender arm bounces lightly on the black covered armrest. The fabric below, vibrant tangerine. There's a bandage on her wrist. We're in an office in a suburban house. A car passes by. Susanna looks out the window at the curb. A woman pulls out a Samsonite case from a 60s Oldsmobile.
What is my mother doing?
Can you answer my question?
Susanna turns, facing him.
How did you pick up the aspirin with no bones in your hand?
Susanna thinks a beat, then plainly.
By then they'd come back.
I see.
No, you don't. It's beyond you.
She lights a cigarette, her hand shaking. She's holding back. The doctor stares at her. Her eyes meet his, angry.
Indulge me. Explain it.
Explain what? Explain to a doctor that the laws of physics can be suspended? That what goes up might not come down?
Somewhere, a dog starts barking, which should have been my dog, but she's actually being babysat, so.
Explain that time can flow backwards from now to then and back again, and that you can't control it?
Why can't you control it?
The dog barks louder.
What?
Why can't you control time?
Susanna turns to face. A family dog barks at Susanna, halfway in a kitchen door. We're at the interior of the Kaysen house at night. A flashback. Susanna's mother rushes in. Colorfully dressed, she holds a plate of hors d'oeuvres.
You're late.
Annette pulls Susanna toward the living room, just enough to show her to the guests. Moon River plays.
Look who's here, everybody.
Everyone looks up and offers greetings. Susanna rubs her head.
Do we have aspirin down here?
Hello, Susanna. Hello.
Susanna is rushed by Mrs. Gilchrist, a well-meaning lady with large teeth wearing fringy macrame.
Susanna, you remember Professor Gilchrist's wife, Mrs. Gilchrist?
My daughter Bonnie's in your class, just accepted at Radcliffe. What a conundrum. I'm a Wellesley girl myself, but these days young women should make up their own minds, don't you think?
Behind Mrs. Gilchrist, we see her husband, Professor Gilchrist, 40, leering over his whiskey. He wears a tweed vest and a goatee. Susanna averts her eyes.
Susanna, are you stoned?
Susanna looks back up, bewildered. We're back to the present. She's facing Dr. Crumble.
Do you smoke pot? Take LSD?
The ash on her trembling cigarette is 2 inches long.
No drugs?
Susanna taps her ash.
I find them redundant.
Have a boyfriend? Maybe a few older boyfriends?
She smiles back, condescending.
How do you feel right now?
Like you're getting hopeful.
The doctor shifts in his chair, unswerved.
Is that all you're feeling? What else?
Susanna looks him in the eye, defiant, the truth.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling.
You need a rest.
I'll go home and take a nap.
You need to go somewhere where you can get a genuine rest, Susanna. You swallowed a bottle of aspirin.
I had a headache.
He rises purposefully and dials a phone.
Yes, can I get a cab at 1240 Milford?
That's all right. My mom is here.
Your parents and I discussed this. It's better this way.
We cut to the exterior of a suburban house, interior of a cabin by day and autumn. Dr. Crumble leads Susanna by the elbow toward a cab. Susanna notices her Samsonite case in the back. Down the block, her mother cries in the Oldsmobile. Dr. Crumble hands the driver cash.
No stops.
His face looms large as he closes the door.
Bye-bye.
The cab takes off, rumbling. Her mother's Oldsmobile becomes a speck. Susanna turns back, lighting a cigarette. The cab radio chimes the hour. News headlines read aloud, escalating fight in Nam. Civil rights riots. Susanna notices the cab driver's wild eyes meeting her in the rear view. Long-haired and bearded. They look like Charles Manson. She looks to the driver's ID card mounted on the dash. On the ID card, a photo. The person is clean-shaven, but still wild-eyed. Their name? M. Hoover. The sound of people singing a muffled happy birthday and someone knocking on a door. Susanna turns to face the bedroom door, and someone knocks again, lightly. We're inside Susanna's bedroom at night. Another flashback. In her nightie, Susanna opens the door just a crack. Standing there, Professor Gilchrist is drunk. He whispers over the singing downstairs.
I want to see you again.
It was a one-time thing.
Please, come to the office later. Tell them you're going to a friend's.
And who do I tell first? My parents, the department chairman, your wife?
Susanna closes the door and locks it. The siren rises. She winces, leans her head against the door. The siren gets louder in a strange triad of notes. Susanna opens her eyes and she is in the cab. We're back to the present. Passing out the window is an ambulance at an accident site. People mill about a body on a stretcher. On the radio, Van Morrison's It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Susanna checks her ash, and it's 2 inches long. The cab driver looks at her. They're stuck in Boston traffic. Susanna notices out the window a Boston cab idles in traffic, facing the opposite direction, identical to Susanna's cab. Susanna stares, fascinated. The driver is obscured, but in the back of the mirror cab, she sees herself, a doppelganger, sitting there, going home and smoking. The doppelganger looks at her a moment, then traffic brakes and the cab pulls away. Susanna sighs, pressing her wrist on the armrest. She flops down across the back seat, propping her head on her case. She stares upward. The unnerving music builds as we cut to leaf-laced moonlight swirling on the ceiling. Music cross-fading to off-screen voices. Goodbyes. The party's over, and we're back in Susanna's room at night. Still flashing back. Susanna lies wide awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. The shadows on the ceiling form a vague face, and it looks like Gilchrist. A man downstairs laughs. Susanna feels something. She looks down and brings her hand to her face, and suddenly she's horrified, stricken, staring at her hand in the moonlight. It's limp, but worse. Something deformed about it. The fingers seem broken, lumpy, twisted. There's more laughing downstairs. Susanna runs out the door. A bathroom door locks and fluorescents flicker on. Still in her nightie, Susanna stands in the pulsing light. She stares into the mirror. Her hand is normal. The doorknob jiggles. Someone's trying to get in.
I'm fine.
The doorknob jiggles again, and Susanna flings open the door.
I'm fine.
There's no one in the hall. Down the staircase, her parents and guests, the Gilchrists among them, look up from their goodbyes. Susanna covers her face, tortured, and turns back to the bathroom. She closes her eyes and then opens them upon a bottle of aspirin on the sink in the flickering light.
What'd you do?
Excuse
Susanna
me?
sits up with a start. Oh, there's 2. There's 2. What did you do?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Danny.
Susanna sits up with a start. We're back in the cab by day, at present. The driver watches her curiously. They're driving through the suburbs, and they ask her again.
What'd you do?
Excuse me?
You look normal.
Susanna smiles polite. Passing outside, children play in a leaf pile, laughing.
I'm sad.
Big deal. Everyone's sad.
I see things.
You mean like tripping?
Kinda.
Well, then they better put John Lennon away, huh?
Susanna smiles at the thought. The cab driver hits the signal and turns the wheel. They've entered a winding campus road. The sign reads McLean, a group of warm and gracious buildings which could be part of a college. The cab driver pulls to a stop in front of a handsome brick building, and a nurse approaches. They have a cool afro and a confident walk, a strut. They open the cab door and their name tag reads Val.
Susanna?
Susanna nods. The cab driver turns around and looks Susanna in the eye.
Don't get too comfortable.
Climbing out, Susanna smiles gently at the cab driver.
I'm just here for a rest.
We cut to the interior of the McLean entrance and stairs that day. Wide-eyed Susanna passes guards following Val. They move briskly up a varnished staircase.
We're going to check you in and then head over to that building.
Susanna looks out the windows, across the rolling grounds. A 2-story, ivy-colored building. It looks like a dorm.
That's where I work and where you'll be staying.
The following scene is a potential content trigger warning for suicide. We enter the interior of Dr. Wick's outer office that day. A close-up on Susanna, bleary as she examines admittance forms. I, Susanna Kaysen, hereby commit myself, ... Understand I will not be released from care until ...
I thought my parents.
A white-haired lady, Arlene, smiles condescendingly.
You have to sign them, Miss Kaysen. You're over 18.
Val stands just outside the door, reading a magazine.
I didn't try to kill myself.
Well, you think about that, Susanna, for your therapy.
A nameplate on a cracked office door reads, S.G. Wick, M.D. Inside, an obscured person in a white coat coughs. Susanna signs the forms.
Miss Kaysen, you have the distinction of being the first person from this school not to go to college.
Susanna looks up to face Miss Paisley, a white-haired guidance counselor looking through a file. A bottle of aspirin sits on their desk. We are in the interior guidance counselor's office by day. Another flashback. Susanna presses her wrist, staring at the aspirin.
Do you have any aspirin?
The person obliviously hands Susanna the bottle.
May I ask what you plan to do?
Susanna swallows a handful of tablets and washes it down with a Coke.
I don't have a plan.
Everyone has a plan.
Oh, you mean like A, get married, B, join the Krishnas, or C, commit suicide?
Miss Paisley strains to smile.
Have you thought about taking secretarial courses?
Susanna shakes her head a beat.
What do you plan to do?
I like surprise nut cake.
But what do you plan to do with that?
They look at each other, equally perplexed.
Graduate.
And here,
Back to Arlene and Dr. Wick's outer office. Back to the present. Arlene points out a place that Susanna missed.
you forgot one, dear.
Susanna signs and pushes the papers across to Arlene.
Speaking for Dr. Wick and myself, we are welcoming you to McLean, Susanna.
Thanks. It doesn't look so bad.
The unseen Dr. Wick coughs again from inside their office.
What did you expect?
I don't know. Bars on the windows, screaming crazies.
Arlene smiles, again condescendingly, and looks devout.
Well, it's a private hospital, so we fortunately have
A lot of rich patients.
the resources to maintain a healing atmosphere.
We cut to the interior of South, I'm going to say Belknap. Somebody tell me. By day. A door with a small window meshed with wire. Val unlocks it, and Susanna follows. There's a few feet of space and an identical door. She unlocks this one, and they enter the TV room. Intensely colorful with emerald vinyl armchairs, red card tables, and an orange sofa. Two people with catatonia are not really watching Father Knows Best. One is older with a 50s hairstyle. The other, in her teens, has a perpetually startled expression.
This is the TV room.
Janet, 17, a green-eyed girl with anorexia, gets up from extensions on the floor. She lights a cigarette and looks at Susanna piercingly. Polly, 20, a burn victim, works on a puzzle. She's the leather-faced girl from scene 1. It's impossible to describe the waxy texture of her face and the sweetness of her blue eyes. And she looks at Val, hopeful.
Val,
Yes, Polly?
I feel very musical today. Can we?
Not today.
Val exits, but Susanna lingers, looking back as Janet sachets by, flicking an ash at a person with catatonia's mouth. The interior of South Belknap and the living room at the same day. Old floral sofas with cigarette holes, and nobody's there.
The living room. Everyone hates it.
Susanna peeks in and they continue on, and there's a cut to the hallway of South Belknap and the phone booths.
You pick up a phone, a nurse answers, and you tell her who you want to call.
A sticker in one of the phone booths reads, "If you lived here, you'd be home by now." Susanna winces. They stop at a large blackboard near the nurse's station, filled with patient names, privileges, and space to fill in destinations, times out and in. Susanna's eyes traverse the blackboard, and the names among them: Daisy, Holly, Georgina, Janet, Cynthia, and Lisa. Susanna's name is at the bottom with an R next to it.
You sign in or out here. Right now you're restricted, but after you've been here for a month, you'll move to 2-1s.
I'm sure I won't be here that long. I'm just here for a rest.
Everyone gets
Val-
the same tour. Oh, sorry.
You can skip it, it's fine.
Everyone gets the same tour, no change, no charge.
They lead Susanna around a corner, a small room with a mesh window in the door. A mattress lies on a green linoleum floor. There's scratched walls.
The seclusion room. You come here anytime you need to yell.
Susanna, pale, looks to Val, who moves on.
By the way, if you don't feel like yelling, but you feel like talking, you let me know while you're here.
We cut to the interior of South Belknap in a hall of rooms. Girls nonchalantly check Susanna out. Among them, there's Cynthia, with a crew cut in khakis, would now be called a lesbian. Holly, we saw her before, the sweet-faced burn victim. Daisy, compelling, taut, sexy. She peers out a cracked door, a sign tacked up on it reading "No trespassing." Susanna and Val stop in front of a pleasant room, something between a college dorm and a colonial hotel room.
And this is your room.
We see Susanna and Georgina's room. On one of the twin beds is Georgina, a red-haired, all-American looking girl of 19. We saw her in the opening under just a little bit more stress. She's reading The Patchwork Girl of Oz.
Georgiana, this is Susanna, your new roommate.
Oh, sorry. The
No, it's okay.
the color is wrong on there. So Sean, you are Georgina.
Yeah. Oh, great. Hi. No kidding. Fucking brunette.
Hi.
Georgina has Tourette's syndrome, so once in a while she bursts out with a thing or two, but it's nothing to take personal, right, Georgina?
Georgina nods and smiles, benign, then back to her book.
Val,
A young nurse, Lillian, appears in the door, very concerned. She whispers something to Val, who turns around to Susanna.
There's something I need to attend to.
Susanna nods, hesitant.
Georgina, will you take Susanna to the dining room in 10 minutes?
Sure.
Val exits. Susanna smiles at Georgina and crosses, sitting gingerly on the second bed beside her Samsonite case. She pops it open. Several floral dresses are folded on top. Susanna sighs at the inappropriateness of her mother's packing. She continues to dig and finds her red-covered journal and a carton of French cigarettes. She spies Georgina watching her.
Pretty box.
They're French. The French resistance smoked them.
Georgina nods. Susanna opens a pack and pulls a cigarette.
Brunette.
Susanna turns. Georgina has a tick. She smiles, harmless.
Do you have a light? They took my matches.
Nurses are supposed to light cigarettes.
Susanna lies back on the bed and takes in the room. Dark spots on the wall and pieces of yellowed Scotch tape.
Who was your roommate before me?
Georgina seems to ignore the question and continues reading, but twitches with a violent tic. And then suddenly she looks up.
Have you read this?
No, but I saw the movie a bunch of times.
Susanna notices the bookshelf is lined with Oz books. The Wizard of Oz, Road to Oz, Ozma of Oz, Glinda of Oz, etc.
The movie's based on the first book, Surprise Nutcake. I read that too, but there's no ruby slippers. They added that. This place takes afterwards. Dorothy doesn't have a big part in this one.
There's a bleat of a siren outside. Queasy, Susanna crosses to the meshed window.
Did you see the yellow submarine?
A police car is parked at the curb. Val and several other nurses have gathered.
Did you notice the yellow submarine is just a cartoon of the Wizard of Oz? Instead of a yellow brick road, it's a submarine.
One of the police officers opens the back door of the squad car, extends his hand to help out the passenger. Georgina moves to the window, and her tic rises again.
Oh no!
The passenger, a long-limbed, ragged blonde girl, exits unassisted. Her hands are cuffed behind her back. She shakes her long, tangled mane of hair. We cut to the interior of South Belknap in the main hallway. Susanna and Georgina peer out their door as the ragged blonde enters the hallway. Though she's filthy, there's a nobility to her, a poise. The police remove her handcuffs and hand her to Val. Down the hall, girls stand in their doorways, watching.
Give me the hair thing.
The ragged blonde removes a macrame and feather roach clip from her hair. We glimpse the beaded necklace around her long neck, the one that reads, Lisa. Handing the clip to Val, Lisa grins down the hall at Polly and Daisy. Polly waves, hesitant.
Hey, Torch.
Polly chirps back
Ew.
with a southern lilt.
Hey, Lisa.
You miss me?
Not much.
Hey, Daisy. Let anyone in your room yet?
Daisy turns, slamming her door. No trespassing. Lisa's eyes travel to Susanna and Georgina. The sight of Susanna disturbs Lisa.
Who is that with Georgie girl?
Val says nothing, removing Lisa's belt.
Val, where's Maddie?
Suddenly, Georgina closes the door, cutting off Lisa's glare. We see the interior of Georgina and Susanna's room. Georgina turns to Susanna, twitching and desperate.
Fuck! Can't deal with this.
The door bursts open. Lisa marches in, eyes blazing, her finger aimed at Susanna.
Who the fuck are you?
Susanna backs up toward her bed. Georgina stammers.
She just got here, Lisa.
Where's Madeline? What is your shit doing all over the bed?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Val enters the room.
Lisa, get out. You've been gone 2 weeks. Shit has gone down since then.
Lisa spins around, glaring at Val. Her eyes are wild, possessed by the devil. She screams at the top of her lungs.
Where is Maddie? Where the fuck is Maddie?
This outburst affects other girls in their doorways. A person with catatonia headbangs. Another cries. Another begins to shout with Lisa. Student nurses shepherd them to their rooms. Val is unfazed. 2 orderlies appear in the door. One of them, John, a shy and sweet-looking Irish boy, looks ill-prepared for this kind of confrontation.
You come with me now.
Lisa's eyes dart across the apprehensive faces around her. It's at this moment she understands. Madeline is dead. Like a cougar, Lisa leaps across the bed to Susanna, grabbing her by the collar, putting her red-nailed finger in her face. Susanna is stricken and speechless.
What did you do to her? What did you do?
Nothing.
Fucking brunette.
Fire-eyed, Lisa's lips are inches from Susanna as she hisses.
I will kill you, girl.
The orderlies grab at Lisa, but she goes wild, screaming, spinning like a dervish. They wrestle her out into the hallway, shrieking, kicking, her fists flying. Lisa claws Val and the orderlies with long red nails.
We have to cut those.
Susanna rises from behind her bed. She goes to the door as student nurses sit on Lisa to keep her down. A hypodermic is handed to Val, spouting a clear liquid. It is plunged into Lisa's upper arm.
No!
Lisa screams in protest.
No! 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 No!
She melts and goes dull-eyed. They pull Lisa to her feet. Orderlies drag her to the last room, the seclusion room. Polly peers out the door of her room and meets Susanna's eyes. Susanna steps back into the room, ashen. She looks to Georgina, awaiting an explanation. Georgina methodically straightens the wrinkles on her bed.
What happened to your roommate?
Maddie was Lisa's best friend.
Polly stands in the door. She cocks her head at Susanna, her waxy face stretched into a smile. Georgina hums louder.
And Georgina's roommate, she hung herself in the basement after Lisa ran away.
We cut to the interior of South Belknap at the dining room at night. There are 4 tables, a few girls at each, dining on china with plastic forks and spoons. Susanna sits with Polly and Georgina, who has not spoken since the incident. Janet, a girl with anorexia, and Martian's girlfriend sit at an adjacent table. Martian's girlfriend is small, round, and often in contact with invisible friends. She eats from Janet. Georgina smiles at Susanna, then returns to her food. Cynthia gets seconds of Jell-O. Due to the crew cut and boxy clothes, she stands out. She sits with Janet and Martian's girlfriend.
That's Cynthia. She's here because her parents don't like her clothes.
Susanna has fallen through the rabbit hole. She struggles to remain composed. Daisy moves past. She elbows another girl out of the way to get to the coffee pot. She stares at Susanna. Polly continues sing-song introductions. And that's Daisy. She's got her own room. Her daddy pays extra for that. Daisy sits alone, sipping her coffee. She looks nauseous and shields her eyes from all the eating going around her.
Can I get a fucking light?
Susanna meets eyes with John the orderly, who lights Daisy's cigarette. Susanna opens her pack of Galois. Galois? I do not speak. I'm a Spanish, not a French speaker. Martian's girlfriend leans over to Susanna.
I have a penis. Want to see it?
Can I get a light?
John eagerly lights it.
You okay, Susanna?
Susanna nods.
I'm John.
He smiles and moves off.
What kind of cigarette is that?
Something French.
Thank you for not leaving me alone. Susanna has a perfect French accent.
No, she does not.
We all do. It's fine.
Go what?
And Georgina bursts from her silence.
French mustard.
Everyone turns.
The French resistance smoked them. Gauloise.
Well, you're gonna
Thanks.
run out of them.
I'm not going to be here for long. I'm just here for a rest.
Interior of South Belknap outside the nurse's station that night. The girls are lined up for meds. Susanna sits on a couch, smoking and watching I Dream of Jeannie. Mrs. McWeeny, yes, that's the name I'm reading, a veteran nurse with gray hair that clings to her head like a migraine, holds a tray filled with little paper cups. She calls out the name of each girl and they come forward dutifully. It's like graduation.
Susanna Kaysen.
Susanna stands, unsure, and steps forward. Good evening, Susanna. I'm Mrs. McWeeny, and this is for you.
What is it?
Mark, sorry.
What is it?
Surprise nut cake. It'll help you sleep.
But it's 10:30.
That's not wrong, but also Daisy sighs, waiting for her name to be called.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Susanna looks to Polly, who happily swallows her pills.
You can discuss it in the morning, dear, with your doctor. But in the meantime, we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Susanna swallows the pills. She stands there, realizing she's now free to head back to the couch, her room, wherever. She passes the phones. Janet in one booth, Cynthia two down. They shout a conversation to each other. Susanna hurries past. The door to the seclusion room is open. Two young nurses tend to Lisa, a tangle of hair on the mattress strung out. Susanna turns away, her eyes fluttering. She feels the drugs taking effect. At the other end of the hall, McWeenie calls out more names, continuing this medicinal graduation ceremony. We hear a band playing Pomp and Circumstance.
Cynthia Crawley, Daisy Randazzo.
Susanna puts her hand on the wall, supporting herself. We see a flashback of the exterior of the school lawn by day. There's a graduation ceremony. Band plays Pomp and Circumstance. Moving past the parents who are well-dressed and beaming, except for Carl and Annette Kaysen, who are looking anxiously at Susanna among the graduates, falling asleep and groggy. Tobias Jacobs, a good-looking college guy with a ponytail, sits with the graduate's family. He watches Susanna, a smile on his face as she nods off. The principal is at the podium handing out diplomas.
Andrea Jacobs, debating team, yearbook, French Society, track.
Andrea, next to Susanna, rises and steps over Susanna's feet.
Susanna Kaysen?
The following scene as well has a trigger warning for suicide. There's a strange silence. A ritual run aground, and suddenly, click, swish, and we are back to the present. The door to Susanna and Georgina's room flings open. Susanna opens her eyes. A flashlight-wielding student nurse shines her light on Susanna, scaring the hell out of her.
Kex?
The light sweeps over Georgina. She rolls over, half asleep. Swish and click. The nurse is gone. All quiet again. Trees are blowing. Susanna stares at the shadows on the ceiling.
Georgina! Georgina!
After a beat, Georgina answers, groggy from the darkness.
What?
Why do they do that? Why do they come in the room like that?
That's checks. Every 5 minutes, because you're new. They space them out more after you've been here a while.
I can't even think.
That's the point.
How did that girl, Polly, how did she get all...
When she was 12, she set herself on fire.
Why?
Gasoline.
Why?
There's no response from Georgina in the darkness. From somewhere, a meow. Then another from out in the hall. Susanna crosses to the door. The hall is quiet. No sign of the nurse and no more cat sounds. Just the throbbing light of the television. Susanna turns to Georgina.
I have to go to the bathroom. Am I allowed? Georgina.
Nothing. Georgina is out cold. We cut to the interior of South Belknap in the hallway. There's a light in the nurse's station, but it's empty. Susanna passed down the hallway in her nightie. An orderly is nodded off in the flickering TV room. Susanna moves on, quickening her step while passing the phones. Dark and shadowed. Somewhere, a cat meows. Disoriented, she approaches the end of the hall but pauses by the door to the seclusion room. She peers in through the chicken wire portal. The room is dark, moonlit. The mattress is bare and empty. Susanna gets on her toes and looks again, but Lisa's not there. The big door creaks. It's open. She pulls away quickly. The yellow linoleum leads to the left and to the right. Arrows point in both directions. Elevator, administration, art room, etc. But there's no mention of a bathroom. Susanna stands there unsure. She looks to the left.
You could go that way.
Susanna stiffens, a sluggish, drugged voice.
Or you could go the other way.
Susanna spins around. The hallway is empty.
Myself, if I had to take a piss, I would go to the right.
In the blackness of the phone booth, Lisa meows like a cat. Susanna bolts to the right, sprinting. We cut to the bathroom. We have yellow tile, green fluorescence, a morgue. Water drips and the stall is covered with sexually graphic graffiti, crudely drawn dicks, a primitive caricature of McWeenie, spelled with an IE instead of a Y, rides one, looking blissful. Susanna flushes the toilet. She's exposed. There are no doors. Her eyes riveted on the entrance. We go back to the hallway. Susanna walks briskly around the corner and past the phones. There's no one there. But there's an incessant stream of meows coming through the darkness. The essence of madness. Susanna charges down the hallway and, rounding the corner, runs headlong into Mrs. McWeenie. Susanna screams.
Next time, push the call button. Here's another sleeping pill.
She pushes a pill into Susanna's mouth. The following scene has a warning and contains material related to self-harm. We enter the interior of South Belknap in Susanna and Georgina's room. Birds sing. Susanna sleeps in the dawn light. Her butt in the air, pillow clutched in her arms, and Georgina sits in bed, reading. A transistor radio on her pillow plays the Chambers Brothers' Time Has Come Today. Suddenly, click and swish, the door flings open, and Margie, the student nurse, with a clipboard.
Jax.
Susanna's eyes flutter. Swish and click. The door closes. She looks to Georgina, oblivious. Her music drones on. Susanna rolls over and pulls the pillow over her head. Her eyes focus on something. Herself, dancing in the pulsing light with a freckled boy. We are apart in the Cambridge apartment at night. Another flashback. On the record player, the Chamber Brothers in glorious hi-fi. Josh keeps coming closer to Susanna, and he yells over the music.
What are your plans for the fall?
I don't have any.
I'm going to be an ethnobotanist.
He waits for a reaction from Susanna. There is none.
What about you?
I'm thinking of joining the Krishna.
Hare Krishna? That's interesting.
I was just kidding. God.
Susanna crosses to the food table. She pours wine, spilling it on the white tablecloth. She wipes at it, feeling a longing look from Josh.
I hate parties.
She turns around to see Tobias Jacobs, the handsome young man looking at her at graduation.
So do I.
What do you hate the most?
The talking, the people, the general misery of existence.
He laughs. She's surprised he isn't put off.
I'm Toby, Andrea Jacobs' brother. I was at graduation. You're pretty when you sleep.
Click and swish. The door of Susanna's room opens.
Checks. 7 o'clock.
Swish and click. The door closes. Georgina is gone. Susanna rolls over, groggy, and facing Tobias Jacobs. naked on the mattress beside her. We are back inside the Cambridge apartment at night. Another friggin' flashback. The walls behind the bed are filled with posters. An ashtray of French cigarette butts. Susanna is also naked, on her back, and smoking. A spark in her eye. She trusts this guy. We are coming up on a content warning for suicidal ideation.
I mean, everybody thinks about it at some point.
How would you do it?
I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought about it.
Cut your wrists in the tub, gun in your mouth.
Sometimes I imagine I just disappear.
That's good. Vague, but good.
Tobias smiles, but he's getting uncomfortable.
Once it's in your head, though, anything becomes part of the debate. Make a stupid remark, kill yourself. Like a movie, maybe you'll live. Miss the train, kill yourself.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Why not?
Because it's stupid.
Susanna pulls away as if struck, jumps up, and dresses.
What? Because I don't want to die? That's not cool to you?
I don't want to die. I was just talking. Jesus.
Tobias sits up, sensing everything is ruined, getting angry.
The world is fucked up, okay? I'm down with that.
Susanna rolls her eyes, pulling on her jeans in a hurry.
It's so fucked up. Even though I dig living in it, if some draft zombie pulls my birthday out of a barrel, I'm gonna die.
Susanna buttons up her blouse, unimpressed.
When's your birthday?
June 29th.
Susanna grabs her bag, heading for the door.
I'll pray for you.
She opens the door and reveals Lillian the nurse, holding a clipboard.
Checks.
We are back in Susanna's room at McLean. Susanna opens her eyes, looking at the crumpled pillow beside her bed. We cut to water bubbles and steam. Susanna lies in a huge tub. Her head is back and relaxed. We are in a green tiled hydrotherapy room. The door opens. A nurse, Greta, rounds the tiled corner.
Checks.
Susanna sits up with a start, arms around her knees.
Do you have a razor?
I'm just on checks.
I've got permission to shave my legs.
Greta leaves. Susanna looks about the room, incensed. Water drips from hoses. Strange chrome plate stimulation devices encircle the tubs. Frankenstein's laboratory. Susanna notices one of the people with catatonia is sitting in a corner tub, unmoving, with a string of drool running from her lip. Susanna lies back and starts kicking water into the air. Val enters, right in her line of fire. They brush themselves off and sit in the chair next to the tub.
I needed that, actually. No time to shower.
Val holds a razor. Susanna takes it, waiting for Val to exit.
Are you going to watch?
Afraid so. I guess that's why there's so many hairy legs around here.
Susanna sighs and begins to shave her calf.
Anyone ever watch you shave your legs?
Not if I can help it, but I got 2 kids in one bathroom.
Can't you lock the door?
Sometimes.
But you never swallowed a bottle of aspirin.
Can't. I have an ulcer.
Susanna nods and begins to shave her other leg. There's a tenderness about her that Val finds endearing. And we cut to the TV room itself filmed up. We close on the TV screen with the draft lottery in progress. Several Selective Service Youth Advisory Board members watch black capsules tumbling in a large wire mesh drum. Susanna watches from the couch next to the 2 people with catatonia. She puffs on her cigarettes, writes in her journal, and Margie reads the paper. Janet and Martian's girlfriend sit on the opposite couch. MG is drugged, mouth open, stream saliva dripping. She sucks in her spit, giggling at the draft lottery.
Bingo. It's bingo.
Stakes are higher, MG.
On-screen advisory board members take turns pulling capsules and posting them on a board. The dates roll across the TV screen. October 1st, June 29th.
Oh my God, June 29th. A guy I know was just drafted.
What's his name?
Toby.
Well, he's dead now.
Janet stands and exits as we hear.
Get out! My room is fucking private!
Down the hall, Lisa hovers in Daisy's doorway. All heads turn their way, including Susanna.
I'm not in your room, Daisy May. Look, I'm right fucking here. I was just gonna offer you some of my...
Slam. Daisy's door shuts in Lisa's face. Lisa stands there for a beat, then turns, recovering instantly, blowing on her nails. Unlike last night, Lisa is lucid. Her movements are brisk. She sashays past Margie, but her eyes are riveted on Susanna, who stiffens, closing her journal.
You're looking better, Lisa.
Why, thanks, Margie. How's that engagement going?
Oh, you know.
No, I don't. I've been away.
Well, Joe wants me to do it before the wedding. I don't know.
Fuck his brains out. Use a rubber.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Lisa parks herself on the arm of the couch beside Susanna.
Can I bum?
Excuse me?
Can I bum one?
Susanna nods coolly to the pack on the coffee table.
Go ahead.
Lisa takes a cigarette and crosses, leaning over Margie, who lights it without looking up from her paper. Lisa moves to the opposite side of the couch, beside the other person with catatonia. She kicks up her heels, blowing on her nails. Susanna watches her, tense. Lisa blows a cloud of smoke in the face of one of the people with catatonia. There is no reaction. Lisa smiles at Susanna.
Had your first Melvin yet?
Who's Melvin?
Bald guy with a little pecker and a fat wife?
Margie chuckles from behind her paper.
You're the rapist, Sweet Pea. Unless they're giving you shocks or, God forbid, letting you out, then you see the great and wonderful Dr. Lesbian.
She means Dr. Wick.
I was in his office, but I didn't see him.
He's a she. Dr. Wick is a girl.
That's right, MG. Wick is a chick. That's the nickname.
The phone rings. Margie crosses to the nurse's station.
She's got Melvin in 15.
They can't let you sit too long without popping the hood.
Lisa struts off, and Marge shouts after her.
You're supposed to be in hydro, Lisa.
Susanna sits back. She stares bitterly at the television as more draft dates travel across the screen. Susanna turns, glaring at the nearest person with catatonia. She blows a cloud of smoke at her. The woman turns, angry.
Asshole.
Susanna is stunned.
Susanna, you've got a phone call.
We cut to the phone booths at South Belknap. Susanna picks up the phone.
Hello?
Susanna?
Hi, Mom.
Your father's on too.
Hello, Susanna. How are you?
I'm fine.
We talked to your nurse. She said you were doing fine. The place sounds like a resort hotel.
Susanna watches as Daisy throws a fit at Val and Marge through the Dutch doors of the nurse's station.
How come that sociopath can get nail polish and I can't get something to help me? Shit! I need my fucking X-Lax.
Sorry, I was grabbing that.
Sorry about that. No more, Daisy. That's what Melvin.
Then give me some Kool-Aid, Val!
He said no more for you this week. It's on your chart.
How am I supposed to shit?
Daisy storms to her room past Susanna on the phone.
Have you made any new friends?
Mom, this isn't Camp Winneteca.
I'm sorry I didn't take you myself, but the doctor said it would be better if I wanted to.
Mom, it's okay. I'm like the designated hitter. If they met the whole family, who knows? Maybe we'd all be committed.
That's uncalled for, young lady.
Susanna can hear her mom, still crying. She hangs up the phone. The upcoming scene has a discussion of suicide. We cut to the interior of Melvin's office that day. A desk plate reads, Melvin Conrad, MD. Tilt up to a close-up on Melvin Conrad, a soft-spoken man in his 40s. There's a picture of his wife, very rotund, and his child, also rotund, on his desk. He smokes. Susanna sits in an armchair. She lights a fresh cigarette.
Why are you using the past tense?
What do you mean?
He was only drafted today, so chances are he's not dead yet. Probably has several months before he reports.
Whatever. He was just a nice guy, that's all, so I just feel bad.
But you've been feeling bad in general, right? You've been depressed?
Well, I haven't been a ball of joy, Melvin.
I understand you tried to kill yourself last week. Is there anything you want to tell me about that?
I had a headache.
So I assume you took the recommended surprise nutcake dosage for a headache?
Susanna adjusts, a worthy opponent.
I didn't try to kill myself.
What were you trying to do?
I was just trying to make that shit stop.
The time jumps, the depression, the headaches, the thing with your hand.
All of the above.
I see.
You people always say, I see, when clearly you don't.
Susanna looks out the window. The view from the office is wonderful. The trees are bursting with red and gold.
What were your other experiences with therapy like?
A sadness overtakes Susanna as she's looking outside. On the lawn, 2 male patients are leaping wildly through the leaves. One is naked. Nurses chase them.
Are my parents coming here?
Do you miss them?
Tears well in Susanna's eyes. She shakes her head.
I suggested they give you a few weeks to settle in.
Susanna nods. The cigarette trembles in her fingers.
They're gonna love this.
On the lawn, orderlies restrain the prancing men.
You seem puzzled about something.
Susanna quietly cries, her eyes unmoving from the window.
Well, Melvin, I'm puzzled about why it is I have to be in a mental institution.
You put yourself here, Susanna. You signed yourself into our care.
Susanna turns.
Everyone here is crazy.
You want to go home?
Hot tears run down Susanna's cheeks.
It's the same problem.
We cut to the TV room at South Belknap. Susanna watches as Lisa takes her meds. Slung upside down on the couch, Lisa routinely takes a cup from Greta and washes down the pills. Her eyes riveted down the hall. Susanna turns, following Lisa's gaze. At her door, Daisy kisses her father goodbye. He is a potato-faced man cradling 2 foil-wrapped chickens. He hands them to Daisy and departs, nodding to Val. Susanna turns back, meeting eyes with Lisa, upside down. Lisa smiles and spits her pills into her palm. She discreetly displays them to Susanna, then slips them in her pocket.
Susanna,
Greta stands before Susanna, holding a cup with 2 pink pills.
What are these?
Colace, a laxative.
I don't need them.
Are we gonna have a problem?
Susanna looks to Lisa and puts the pills in her mouth. We cut to right outside Daisy's door that day. The sign on Daisy's door reads "No trespassing." Susanna knocks. Lisa watches her from the lobby.
Daisy.
Daisy is.
What's it, Daisy? Did you say it?
Daisy.
Yeah.
I got something you want.
The door flings open. Susanna enters, looking back as Lisa watches from the lobby, stunned. We cut to inside Daisy's room. A foil-wrapped chicken sits open on the floral bedspread. Daisy sits on the bed, pulling meat away in strips. Susanna stands in the room. Daisy offers no response, lining up chicken strips on the foil, like a chef. Susanna sits down and watches Daisy, waiting.
I saw a guy once on a subway and he was all wrapped up in tinfoil.
Daisy pays no attention. Susanna notices clothes stacked neatly in a suitcase, ready to move at a moment's notice.
Why are you all packed up?
I'm out of
Daisy
here in a
speaks
month.
without looking up. Oh, sorry.
No, my bad. I'm out of
I'm
here
good
in a
now.
month. My dad got me an apartment
Oh, where? What kind of apartment?
near the airport, 1 bedroom, 2 baths, eat-in chicken.
You mean eating kitchen?
That's what I said, asshole. So what do you got that I want?
Susanna opens her hand. In her palm are the 2 pink laxative pills.
Put him on the bed. Get out.
Put yours on the bed.
Lisa stands in the doorway.
Oh, Jesus, get out.
Don't take advantage, Days, just because she's new. Pony up some Valium.
Get the fuck out or I'm calling Val.
Go ahead. Ask Val for some Colace like Susie Q's got in her fucking hand. Why does it stink in here?
I don't take Valium.
That's the point, Days. They give them to you and you don't take them. What are you making with that chicken? You gonna eat that?
Push. Greta appears in the door.
Checks. Hey, you've got visitors, Daisy.
Mark it in the book, Greta. Daisy's going social.
I want some fucking Colace.
Talk to Melvin tomorrow.
Lisa pushes the door closed.
I think you want to poop, Daisy. I think it's been days.
Susanna stands and offers the pills to Daisy.
Look, it's okay. I don't care.
But I do. I do care. Sit down.
Susanna sits. Lisa moves about the room and plays with Daisy's porcelain figurines. She finds postcards stacked on the dresser.
He buys you a private. No one gets in. You leave only when Val makes you go to the cafeteria where you never eat. You're a laxative junkie, so I figure you're like Janet. But then here you are with this chicken. What's with that?
My dad owns a deli, asshole, with the rotisserie. I like my dad's chicken. When I eat something else, I puke.
Lisa examines the postcards in her hand. She reads them. From Hawaii, Florida, Italy. There's a sickly sweetness to the inscriptions, each ending with "Love and kisses, Daddy."
So your dad brings you your favorite food every week?
How does he know you're eating it?
Daisy nods.
He knows.
What about the bones? Doesn't Val...
Unlike you two, I'm not interested in killing myself.
Lisa notices some foil peeking out from under the closet.
Why can't you eat in the cafeteria?
What do you like better, taking a dump alone or with McWeenie watching?
Alone?
Everyone likes to be alone when it comes out. I like to be alone when it goes in. To me, the cafeteria is like being with 20 girls all taking a dump at once.
Daisy, that is fucked up.
Show me the cat on your arm. Show me Ruby and we have a deal.
No,
Why not?
because I'm bored and I want to go. Come on. Come on.
Daisy retrieves 2 Valium from Raggedy Ann's head. She throws them on the bed.
All right, asshole. All right.
Susanna drops her pills on the bed and Daisy inhales them. Lisa scoops up the Valium, swallows them, and suddenly pulls open the closet door.
Hey!
7 foil-wrapped chicken carcasses lie on the floor, arranged chronologically. On the right, the oldest, mold-encrusted. To the left, fresh carcasses.
Good fucking God. How Daddy knows she's eating.
Susanna moves behind Lisa, staring at the carcasses.
When I get to 10, Val makes me throw them away.
We cut to Lisa's room in the late afternoon. Barbies hang from the ceiling by their necks. The room is a mess of graffiti, clothes, and mutilated stuffed animals. Susanna sits on the bed, reading a fashion magazine as Lisa moves about the room, digging through crap and smoking. Click and swish. Lillian opens the door.
X.
Here it is.
Where did you get that?
Swish and click, she is gone. Lisa pulls out Susanna's red journal from a magazine pile.
I love this section about me. Lisa is funny and terrifying. The staff fear her. She has beautiful red nails. Val cut them. She said they were sharps. That means dangerous.
Give it to me.
Hold on, this part's good. Polly's never unhappy in her tight, burnt, slipcover skin. Kind, comforting, cheerful, she's faultless, like an angel. Whatever shadow drove her whispered die in her once perfect ear. Unlike the rest of us, Polly burnt it away. Fried it. This shit's good. Pictures are cool too.
Can I have it back, please?
Lisa holds up a pencil drawing of Polly and Janet.
Sorry, can I have it back, please?
Lisa hands her the journal. Susanna moves to leave, but Lisa blocks her, rolling up her sleeve, cigarette hanging on her lip.
Check this out.
Ooh, sorry. Yeah, I put that one in. Then I will say yes. Lisa proudly displays a cigarette-scarred forearm to Susanna. The scars form a pointillist picture of a cat in progress.
That's Ruby. Meow.
Doesn't that hurt?
It passes time.
Lisa touches the burning end of her cigarette to her arm. It hisses as it burns in a further piece of the cat's tail. Cut to the interior of Melvin's office. There's frost on the window, snow blankets on the ground. Susanna stares out the window, holding a carton of French cigarettes. Carl and Annette are beside her, anxious. out of their element.
The length of her stay depends on her response to treatment.
For what, depression? I teach people her age, doctor. They're all depressed.
She's always been quiet and shy.
It's almost Thanksgiving. What am I supposed to tell people? What am I supposed to tell her grandparents?
What you don't understand, Melvin, is that my parents are having a holiday cocktail party crisis.
Susanna!
What is this borderline business you mentioned on the phone?
Sean, do you want to jump in and we'll try to reset Danny?
Yep. On the word borderline, Susanna looks up.
What borderline business?
The mind is the only organ where awareness of its condition can affect recovery. This information is not useful.
Switch to a different Wi-Fi network.
This information is not useful to Susanna right now. It could get in her way. We can talk more on your way out if...
Melvin, borderline between what and what? What borderline?
Melvin sighs.
It's a condition, Susanna, known as borderline personality disorder.
Annette immediately begins to cry, loud.
It's not uncommon, especially among young women. There's no cure per se, but it's highly treatable.
What causes it?
We're not sure.
Is it genetic?
Oh, Christ, Susanna.
It is 5 times more common among those with a borderline parent.
Carl and Annette become ashen. They're ready to leave. Cut to the interior of the TV room. A day later, Susanna stands at the window watching. Her parents trudging to their car with Melvin. Cynthia, Lisa, and Polly are playing cards at the table. John, the orderly, pushes a cart down the hall. His eyes dart shyly to Susanna as he passes her. He speaks quietly.
Hey, Susanna.
Susanna turns. He's sweet. She smiles.
Hey, John.
John, will you call me a cab?
Okay, you're a cab.
Cynthia laughs hysterically and unnaturally as John leaves.
I love that guy. Anybody ever fuck him?
Susanna feels Lisa watching her. She meets Lisa's eyes. Lisa smiles coyly and looks away, arranging her cards.
Razors pain you, rivers are damp, acid stains you, drugs cause cramp. Guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful, you might as well live. Gin.
Lisa crosses past Janet and the two people with catatonia watching a movie on television. She snaps it off, moving down the hall.
Asshole?
Janet turns the TV back on. The tube comes to life. Susanna's eyes move to the TV. She sits down. Fred Astaire dances on the ceiling. Polly starts to dance about the room to the music. Janet turns to Susanna.
Lisa says you got into Daisy's room. Said it was filled with chickens.
Susanna nods. Greta calls out from the nurse's stations. Susanna, you have a phone call. Cut to interior of the phone booth in the hallway during the day. Susanna sits down in the first booth, apprehensive.
Hey, Mom.
So, what's your diag-nonsense?
Who is this?
Duh. My name is Susanna, and I am very sensitive, and I like to give away my meds. I'm only here for a rest, and...
We pan to see Lisa, 2 booths down, talking on the phone.
I only smoke cigarettes manufactured in countries where the climate makes it physically impossible to grow tobacco.
Susanna turns as Lisa leans out, phone in hand, grinning. She disappears into the booth, whispering into the receiver.
What'd he say? What's your malady?
I have borderline personality.
That's like nothing. What else?
He didn't want to say more. He said it would affect my recovery.
Fuck him. Tongue your meds tonight. After 10 o'clock checks, go in John's supply closet by the bathroom.
I'm not going anywhere.
Lisa hangs up and walks off. Susanna watches her. Cut to the interior of Susanna and Georgina's room at night. Under the blankets, Susanna pulls on her jeans. Georgina sleeps in the background. Click, swish. Lillian peers in. Susanna freezes and feigns sleep. Cut to the interior of John's supply closet at night. Susanna opens the door. She enters quickly. She stands there in the dark closet, feeling stupid. Suddenly, in the shadows, she notices two glistening blue eyes, silent and quiet. Susanna stares at the eyes, paralyzed with fear. Suddenly, the door opens. John, the orderly, reaches for a mop and bucket, but notices Susanna standing there. His reaction is slow, not stupid, but laconic and easygoing.
Hi.
Hey, Susanna.
I got lost. Actually, I'm meeting somebody.
Just don't get me in trouble.
He shuts the door. Susanna sighs and looks back into the eyes. It's Polly, crouched in the shadows and watching Susanna with utter admiration. She reaches, touching Susanna's cheek.
You're beautiful.
Susanna looks back to see John mopping the dark TV room. Cut to the interior of the pantry and the music room at night. The shelves are stocked with hot chocolate, mix, coffee, and teas. On one wall, a pegboard adorned with instruments, a ukulele, a guitar, bongos, cymbals, whistles, and kazoos. Susanna waits with Polly in front of the dumbwaiter door. As the dumbwaiter grinds its way back up, Polly plucks the instruments. The twang makes Polly giggle.
What is this? Some kind of music room?
It's a pantry, really. Bing. Ray Charles gave these to the hospital after they cured him of his addiction, but they keep them in here since Becky Kaiser slit her wrists with an E string.
The dumbwaiter clunks open. Lisa stands below.
Get in, for Christ's sake.
Susanna climbs in and sits as small as she can, her legs up to her chest. She looks at Polly as the door shuts. The dumbwaiter makes its descent. The ropes whine as they roll over pulleys. Down, down, down.
Welcome back to my Wi-Fi, and we cut to inside the basement that night. Doors open onto Lisa, Cynthia, MG, and Janet. Lisa pulls a disoriented Susanna out and slams the door, sending it back up for Polly. Lisa spins and...
Come on.
leads them down the hallway around a blind corner. There, the hallway bisects, one part leading to a staircase up, the other into a dark tunnel. Susanna follows, looking back for Polly, who pulls herself out of the dumbwaiter.
Wait up!
We cut to walking in the pitch black tunnels, where footsteps on wet cement, pipes everywhere. Susanna looks about, wide-eyed. Suddenly, flutter, flutter, flutter.
What was that?
Probably a bat.
It wasn't a blue jay. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Okay. It wasn't a blue jay. Probably around this corner. It'll be light.
There's a faint light that emanates from the end of the tunnel. Flashlights are turned off. Walls glisten with moisture.
When they built this place, they put in tunnels so the patients didn't have to go anywhere in the cold.
I missed that in the brochure.
Now they dunk us in the freezing water.
Watch it. There's
They
a
pass
dip.
another junction in the tunnel.
Watch it. There's a dip.
Susanna sidesteps a recessed area in the floor. Susanna sidesteps a recessed area in the floor that's wet. She veers to the left, and Lisa grabs her.
No, that goes to the sheds.
Lisa's way out. Oh, fuck. Am I on? Yeah. Okay. I never know if I'm muted or not anymore.
Some other time.
Cut to a rusting furnace and dripping pipes. This is the same tunnel chamber from scene 1. The girls are huddled around a door framed in the wall. Cynthia uses a bobby pin to pick the lock.
We're under administration. No good here.
Thank God this place has a sliding scale. We get to commingle with lockpick and trash.
Cynthia smiles, thinking it's a compliment. Click. The door opens into a dark chamber, fluorescent sputter on. Susanna stares at a regulation-size, fully equipped, one-lane bowling alley. There are 2 bowling balls, heavy with huge finger holes. MG grabs one and slings it down the alley into the gutter. Janet trudges to the pin pit, a lit cigarette on her lip. She retrieves MG's ball, puts it in the return chute. Lisa lights her joint.
All right, Susie Q, you're up.
Oh, me? I don't know. I've only done this once in my life.
Shut up and bowl, woman.
Susanna stands at the lane, struggling with the heavy ball. She feels all eyes on her. She drops the ball. Thud. It meanders down the lane, really slow but straight. Everyone watches, slack-jawed, as Susanna's ball lethargically takes out every single pin. A cheer. Susanna smiles, red-faced, as the motley crew applauds and whoops. The first friend she's had in years. She sits down on the bench next to Lisa as Cynthia steps onto the lane with a big red ball. She does a little two-step and lets loose powerfully. Her ball slams into the pins, but a few are left standing. Janet and MG
Janet and MG argue how to keep score. Susanna and Lisa watch like mothers on a park bench.
Georgina's right on with their Wizard of Oz shit.
Lisa points to each of the chattering girls in sing-song.
Oh, did we lose? Oh, hey, Andrew. You are right on. We are on page 62, and it's your line for NG.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
If I only had a brain.
A face, some hips, a dick.
I wanted to say that.
Oh, sorry.
Susanna smiles. Something about Lisa's wry perspective makes everything more bearable. Lisa hands Susanna the joint.
Oh, you're muted, babe.
You think Daisy's really gonna get out?
Lisa nods, blowing smoke.
He coughed up a big one.
Susanna is blank-faced. Lisa smiles.
That's what the Rape Me is all about. Why do you think Ford's picture is on every shrink's wall?
Janet tries to swing a big bowling ball and it flies backwards from her hand, bouncing into the wall. All the girls laugh.
The man created an industry. Lie down, confess your secret, you're saved. The more you confess, the more they think about setting you free.
Come on, Lisa, you're up.
The girls all turn, waiting for Lisa to bowl.
What if you don't have a secret?
Then you're a lifer, like me.
Cut to the interior of the administration building, hallway at night. Lisa holds the flashlight. Cynthia picks the lock. Susanna looks at the nameplate on the door. S.G. Wick, M.D. Suddenly, vroom, the silence is broken by a roaring motor. Down the hall, M.G. struggles with an unwieldy power waxer. The handle runs away from her, spinning wildly.
Mother of God.
Huck, hold this.
Lisa passes the flashlight to Susanna and charges MG.
Turn it off.
I can't.
Cynthia pops the office door open.
Got it.
Down the hall, Lisa jerks the power plug from the wall. The beast is quiet. Lisa turns, calmly facing MG, and smacks her across the face. MG crumples into a ball and clings to Lisa's leg. The girls scramble into the office, but Susanna lingers, watching as Lisa strokes MG's hair, coaxing her up. Cut to a close-up on a file. The name, Kaysen S. Fingers flip through Susanna's file. Psychiatric reports, the word borderline seems to jump out, among other words such as resistant, denial, highly intelligent, depressive. Close on Susanna's eyes, riveted. MG pouts in the corner. She watches Susanna. Wider. The file drawers are thrown open. The girls sit all around the office, reading. Lisa sits on the file cabinet, foraging her file. Her eyes scan something upsetting, and she tosses it down.
Fuck you, Melvin.
Want to see mine? Then let me see yours.
Lisa and Janet trade files. Janet reads aloud.
Oh shit. That's me. Highs and lows increasingly severe. Controlling relationship with patients.
Susanna looks up.
No appreciable response to meds. No remission observed. And that was before you ran away.
In the corner, Polly sits with her file on her lap. The others converse in the background as Polly reads painfully.
We are very rare and we are mostly men.
Lisa thinks she's hot shit because she's a sociopath.
I'm a sociopath.
No, you're a lesbian.
Close up on Polly's file. The words. Severe avoidance disorder. Refuses to acknowledge disfigurement. No response in therapy. Profoundly suicidal. Polly's eyes become wet with sadness. She flips past the evaluations and comes upon a school picture of herself. Blue eyes. So young, smiling, unscarred. Tears drop onto the photograph. Polly closes the file, weeping. MG, in the opposite corner, smiles at Polly, comforting. Susanna crosses, flipping a manual of mental disorders.
Borderline personality disorder, a persuasive pattern of instability of self-image, relationships, and mood. Uncertainty about long-term goals, impulsive, particularly in activities that are potentially self-damaging, such as casual sex.
I like that.
Social contrariness and a generally pessimistic attitude are often observed. That's me, all right.
That's everybody. What sex isn't casual?
They mean promiscuous.
I'm not promiscuous.
What's your count?
It depends on what you count.
Everything from fooling around with clothes on to dry humping to hand jobs through blowjobs to straight fucking.
Suddenly, bong, 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 bong. All the girls gasp, spinning around. In the corner, a grandfather clock strikes 4. Loud. A collective sigh. Lisa looks to Susanna. Suddenly, the sound of a key turning a lock. The door to the outer office opens, and a huge beam of light from a handheld security searchlight slices into the inner office. The girls scramble on all fours, crawling behind the desk, into the closet, behind the door, any cover they can find. Susanna crouches behind the file cabinet, her hands pressed against aging floral wallpaper. The security guard shuffles into Wick's office. His bright light flits at his side, making shifting shadows as he crosses to Wick's desk, standing right above. Lisa, Janet, and Polly hold their breath, his hands fumbling close. As he reaches into the bottom drawer, he retrieves a bottle of vodka and a glass. He pours a shot, sits in a squeaky swivel chair. He leafs through a Life magazine, the chair squeaking rhythmically. Polly is pinned closest to him, terrified, her blue eyes looking straight out at a page of Marilyn Monroe's photos straight from the guard's lap. His chair squeaks like a mattress. Susanna, palms on the wall, stares at the cracked wallpaper. The squeaking continues. Her eyes follow a crack as if it swoops downward and then up again, making the shape of a state of
Florida.
The squeaking stops.
What? Why did you stop?
We are in the interior of a college office at night, flashing back. Susanna is frozen, naked, hands on the wall, sitting atop Professor Gilchrist, sweaty, red-faced on a leather couch. She runs her finger over the crack, looking down to him.
The crack in the wall. It looks like...
Susanna, you're not into some weird bondage bag, are you?
No answer from her. Gilchrist stares up at
your wrist.
The inside of Susanna's wrist is black and blue, a flare of light and the sound of the drawer slamming closed. We are back in Wick's office, night. The security guard shuffles out the door. The girls, sweaty, all climb out of their hiding places.
That was forever and a day.
Lisa looks to Susanna, dazed.
How long was he in here?
Lisa is disturbed by this question. Janet turns. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Susanna turns to the grandfather clock in the corner. It's 4:25. Cut to the exterior of South Belknap, walking to the road, day. Ka-kunch, ka-kunch, ka-kunch. Rubber boots busting through crusted snow. Susanna, Lisa, Georgina, Polly, MG, and Cynthia walk in a pack, enjoying the crunch of their boots. Val, Daisy, and the student nurses walk on the salted sidewalks. They watch the girls. Susanna and Lisa are together.
Jesus.
Susanna stares ahead in wonder at Janet, who walks alone on the icy surface. She's so thin she never breaks the crust. She looks like an angel.
Val's freaking out. They all are.
Val is tersely scolding MG for jumping around too much. Daisy eyes Lisa and Susanna.
They think we're going to make a break for it.
Margie and Greta also look about, vigilant and paranoid.
Taking patients for ice cream in 3 feet of snow makes you wonder which are the...
Polly barrels into the conversation.
You're muted.
I think it's nice to do something nice on Daisy's last day.
She doesn't eat ice cream. She's going to gag from the sight of it.
We should all sit down on the double yellow in the middle of town, hold hands, do a Gregorian chant, and pee on ourselves.
Cut to the exterior Mill Street, middle of the town, during the day. The student nurses and Val have distributed themselves all around the girls, herding them into a tight pack. It's a strange sight, this huddle of wide-eyed girls in matching boots, shuffling down the street surrounded by starched white nurses. People walk by, trying not to stare. Pressed together, Susanna glares at Marge. Margie giggles. Like all the student nurses, Marge is the same age as the girls. Without uniforms, they'd all look the same. They cross the street toward Brigham's ice cream parlor. Cut to the interior of Brigham's ice cream parlor, day. An old-fashioned parlor dotted with suburban matrons. The girls are at the counter muttering about flavors. Nervous nurses cling like Velcro. A pimply-faced teenager is behind the counter with a big button that says Ronnie. Susanna looks around the shop. Suddenly, she sees Mrs. Gilchrist having a sundae with her daughter, Bonnie.
Oh, God.
Susanna hides behind Lisa. Greta addresses Ronnie. We'll have 10 cones.
9.
8.
Guess I'll have the peppermint stick.
Me too.
It's just called peppermint,
Peppermint dick.
honestly.
Peppermint clit.
Everyone in the parlor turns and stares.
Sorry, we'll have 4 peppermints.
5.
5, Lisa?
Everyone looks to Lisa. She leans on the counter and smiles slow, like a cat.
Ronnie,
Yes.
you got hot fudge?
Yes.
All right then. I want a vanilla sundae with hot fudge, sprinkles, rainbow, not chocolate, whipped cream, jimmies, cherries.
Everyone waits as Lisa rolls her tongue, thinking.
Surprise nut cake?
The nurses hold their breath. Everyone busts out laughing. Cut to the interior of Bringham's ice cream parlor later. Janet, Marjorie, Susanna, and Lisa are eating in a booth. Susanna glances apprehensively at the Gilchrists a few booths down. In the next booth, Daisy answers eager questions, trying to avoid looking at MG, who is eating with her mouth wide open.
Melvin wanted me in a halfway house, but my dad thought I deserved a place of my own. It has an eat-in chicken and a wet bar right in the living room.
Listening to this, Lisa is hunched over her sundae, seething. Susanna is in mid-lick on her cone when Mrs. Gilchrist and Bonnie appear at the table.
Susanna,
Hi, Mrs. Gilchrist.
how are you? We were so sorry to hear about your, you know, Bonnie.
Oh, sure. How's Radcliffe?
Wellesley. I'm enjoying it. It's very strong in art.
She's going to the Sorbonne this summer.
Mother.
Excuse me, what's your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Miss Gilchrist. Hello, everyone.
Is this the professor's wife?
Susanna is mortified. She nods.
What professor?
Mrs. Gilchrist. Don't you worry your little head anymore about Susanna and the rim job she gave your husband. She has no idea what she was doing. She's crazy.
Miss Gilchrist is ashen. Susanna looks at Lisa, who crosses her eyes. Janet cackles insanely. Susanna turns to Miss Gilchrist and smiles a toothy, crazy smile.
I have no idea what you're...
What I'm saying is she's a fucking crazy.
Blah!
Suddenly, Georgina has a Tourette's episode. Fucking crazy. She's fucking crazy. Bonnie backs away, unnerved by everything, but especially Polly's quiet stare.
Mother, we have to go.
Bonnie puts her ice cream cone too close to Daisy's face, who smacks it hard.
Watch it, asshole!
Intermission.
And scene.
You survived.
So we're going to take a little break. I say we come back at 9:15, 9:20. What do we normally do?
Let's try 9:15 because this one's been a little longer than usual.
Has been longer than usual.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, shout out East Coast time where it's 10:06.
Up late, Mom and Dad.
All right. Thank you, 10.
All right. And we're hoping to have our narrator back. I hope.
Hi, Sean. Do you exist?
I do exist, and you sound
See?
like I am talking to you in real time.
I was gonna say you responded within normal human time, so I'm hoping that means I am too.
It works. It seems to work.
I like while I was sitting there and I had everything turned off, like I even texted my boyfriend and said, are you gaming right now? Like, is there any reason that there would be a Wi-Fi issue? And he's just sitting around watching TV. So yes, sorry. And I just walked outside. I was like, okay, well, if you're not doing anything that would actually take up the bandwidth, there's no reason that my Wi-Fi should be this way.
Yep. Well, it sounds like it's still working. So
my next guess was that my laptop was dying. That's why I flubbed myself a little before all that happened.
Is your Wi-Fi,
And it was
not your Wi-Fi, is your laptop on low power mode, and can you kick up the battery efficiency or power efficiency?
It doesn't.
If you right click the battery symbol, power options.
I've never. I did it first, and I immediately plugged it in. It's at 8% right now, but I've never seen my laptop go into low power mode. It's just the battery charging symbol. It's not red or green or any color.
Do you have a Windows?
No, I have a MacBook.
Okay, I don't know those as well.
Yeah, no, it's literally, I have an itty bitty little MacBook Air that I use for personal stuff, but I decided to take my own liberties and use my work computer whenever we do readings so that I can have everything on the screen together because it's a bigger one. Which I assume is also where your Zoom is coming from.
Yeah, I'm gonna say work Zoom, work laptop, and I have a desktop monitor right here.
And I was using all of my work Photoshop and Adobe stuff to make drag posters. So, thank you, Ginger. I think I feel like people should know that whenever you give someone a laptop and send them home with it, I don't know. I think especially, maybe I only think this way because having a MacBook, it also means that all of my text messages, all my email, everything can be just immediately taken to that computer. So it doesn't feel like it makes sense to me to just switch between computers 5 times a day just because I'm checking a different email.
Yeah, I have my work monitor, my work laptop as well, and I do a lot of my posters and stuff, everything on this. So hopefully Cash is cool with that.
There are some times that accessibility wise, your work gives you stuff that you can't have otherwise, like Adobe. And sometimes it's just literally, my screen is a little bit bigger. Please let me do this. Or I can be on Zoom for more than 30 minutes. That's a good one.
I am salaried. I am always working.
Yep.
Are we all back? Missing one, Cadaver.
I sat down to try to work on. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, it is 9:16. I don't have any concept of time or date sometimes.
Yeah, this script's definitely taking a little bit longer, but I think we're over halfway through, so hopefully it won't be crazy late.
So just check in though. Yeah. How's everyone feeling with all the heavy content? Just doing a mom check-in.
Better than I thought.
I think
honestly.
most of the surprising stuff to me happened already. So I think I should be pretty well.
I think there's one big, huge,
good by now.
major thing, and once we get past that, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I'm actually feeling it, I'll send you guys a text that was kind of a big, hey, this is why I freaked out earlier, but I'm actually okay.
Okay, good.
It was just one of those surprising things. No, after leading a bunch of mental health trainings, you learn to kind of acknowledge that a trigger just happened and then move past it. Because you can't stop talking. Like, you're in charge of this group of 15 people. You can't just walk out of the room in the middle of the section you're training. Or like, I could, but it would be very weird.
Or it's like someone's telling me some of the hardest things I've ever heard.
To acknowledge it.
Could I say one of the reasons I like this movie so much, though, even though it's so hard, is because it was one of the first. I know it has its problems and things like that, but it was one of the first times I saw people like me portrayed realistically.
Yeah.
And it's definitely more accurate for the time it's in as well.
Yeah.
But as hard as it is to watch at some points, when you look up your disorder and the first thing you find regarding media is a book on how to divorce people with your disorder, it's really difficult to take. And this might not be the 100% perfect representation of psych wards, mental illness, borderline, but it's the first one that didn't scare me, that I felt a part of in some way.
Yeah.
So it's representation for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like, I remember
I'm with you.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater in the 90s when it came out and just sitting there going, I'm not weird. I'm not alone. I'm like, just having that moment of like, there are other people out there like me, and this felt real to me. But yeah, it is still triggering on some level. But when it came out in the 90s, I was very appreciative of the fact that I felt seen, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's oh, sorry, go ahead, Liz.
Oh, I don't know who's watching or whatever, but I am like officially recovered / in recovery I'm still bipolar, but as far as the BPD goes, that's not on my chart anymore. And that might not be possible for everybody, but there's an end to the suffering if you wait long enough. If you there's something to wait for, there's something to hold out for. And sometimes it feels like there isn't, but this period you're in isn't forever. I wasn't supposed to be able to live independently, and I wasn't supposed to be able to have a career or healthy relationships. My parents actually were looking for group homes for me. That's how bad it was for me. And I'm doing really well now. It's not perfect and things are really hard, but it's more than what people thought I could do. So if you can just go 5 more minutes, and then after that, see if you can go 5 more minutes. And that's all it really comes down to. And I did not raise my hand for being trained because I am not trained. But I am still here if you just need to reach out to somebody.
Thank you for sharing.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Are we ready?
Yeah, I think we just want to make a small casting announcement just to try to, I know that we've had a lot of like people leaving, people coming in. It's looking like Jada had to leave, so we are going to have Andrew take over most of Jada's parts. So hopefully it'll make sense.
All right, that's the time when I unmute myself. Sorry, I have a I have weird things about my camera, or about my thing being unmuted. All right, are we all ready? I was going to say, somebody give me a thumbs down if you're not. That's a better way to do it. Okay. All right, so we start with the inside of the dance therapy room. Music plays and there are paper Christmas decorations on the windows. A group including Susanna, Lisa, Georgina, and others stand in rows. Some look at the ceiling. Some stare in space, but all lift their arms as instructed by the dance therapist.
Lifting branches up to the sky. That's it. Your leaves dancing in the breeze. This is nice.
Embarrassed, Susanna looks to Lisa, who wears a sour expression. Her arms are slung in the air. She makes her hands into claws and mimes Julie Newman.
Meow.
They laugh. Suddenly, Susanna notices through the window, out in the snow, Daisy and her dad loading into their car. Val hugs Daisy goodbye. Susanna drops her arms, watching. One by one, Polly, Georgina, Janet, each girl drop their arms, watching, sadly out the window. Lisa sneers.
Good luck, crazy bitch.
Janet sits down on the mat and begins to cry.
It's not fair. 64 is the perfect weight. It's not fair.
Now, what kind of tree can you be, Janet, down there on the floor?
I'm a surprised nut bush, all right?
There's a close-up on Susanna's eyes as Daisy's car drives off.
Scientifically speaking, a mood comes from a compound.
We cut to the inside of Melvin's office that day. Susanna, draped on the couch, is playing with a clown puppet. Melvin is at his desk explaining.
A compound of neurotransmitters.
Chemicals.
Melvin nods. Susanna smiles at Melvin, almost flirtatiously.
Too much of one, not enough of another. You might as well set yourself on fire or eat too much chicken.
It's not that simple.
What about a memory? What's that, Mr. Whoopi?
You know what a memory is, Susanna.
That's not what I mean. Melvin, I mean, what exactly is a memory in your mind? What is it? A bunch of cells?
We think it's a pattern of cellular changes in certain areas of your brain. We're still learning.
We're still learning.
Yes.
But you're treating us anyways. Giving us drugs. Shit like you know what you're doing.
We know it works, Susanna. Some things we know for sure.
How?
From experience.
How do you know Daisy got better?
I don't want to talk about other patients. I want to talk about you.
I want to talk about Daisy. How do you know she got better?
No one gets better, Susanna. You just make progress. Daisy's progress came from talking, as will yours. Not about science or other people, but talking about yourself and your feelings.
And from this talking, you figure out the thing in my past that made me this way, right? You find my secret, and however long it takes you, I'm stuck here. That's the game, isn't it?
Susanna glares, waiting for an answer, when Melvin looks back at her, very calm.
Do you have your diaphragm in?
What?
Two alternating organ notes rise. It is not Melvin at the desk anymore, but a flirtatious British teacher. We're in the inside of the faculty office. In a flashback.
I understand, Susanna, that you come to your student-teacher meetings prepared.
Strings rise in the minor key. Susanna closes her eyes, and the drums churn out a beat. We hear, I am the walrus. Music continues. Trees are budding, flowers bloom. Pulling back from the South Belknap windows, Margie passes through the frame, carrying a medication tray. We follow her on her rounds as she hands out pill cups.
I am he as you are, he as you are, me, and we are all together.
Lisa, Polly, and Janet are dutifully swallowing their pills. On the TV, there's an update on the war. Dan Rather's in a rice paddy.
See how they run like pigs from a gun, see how they fly. I'm crying.
A close-up on Susanna's journal. The music continues. Scrawled words on a page.
The world didn't seem to stop spinning just because we weren't in it.
As Susanna's pencil madly sketches, cat on Lisa's arm.
Sitting on a cornflake, waiting for the van to come.
Margie enters Susanna's room with the meds tray. Susanna sits up in bed, her journal propped on her lap. She dutifully swallows, lies back, and feels the pill's effect.
I am the Eggman. Woo! I am the walrus. Cuckoo, ka-choo.
There's a montage of the world spinning at McLean as the music continues, but Ginger, you feel free to either give me a soundtrack or not. It's fine. We see everyone watching TV, tearful, as Robert Kennedy is murdered. Susanna and Melvin both sleeping through therapy. Susanna flirting with John. Lisa watching gleefully. Bumper cars in the lobby with swivel chairs. Pinning a picture of Richard Nixon next to McWeenie's ass. Susanna playing normal for mom and dad. Introducing Lisa. Polly posing as Susanna draws her picture. All the preceding images intercut and build with Susanna's pencil, feverishly scrawling words and pictures.
I am the Eggman. Woo! I am the walrus. Cuckoo, ka-choo. And also Ric Flair. Okay.
As the music winds down, Val smiles as they enter the lobby with a young man.
Susanna, you have a visitor.
Susanna turns, journal on her lap and horrified. She then smiles, flattered. It's Tobias Jacobs. All the other girls turn, wide-eyed. A handsome man. Lisa raises an eyebrow. Sean watches, jealous.
What are you doing here?
I'm supposed to report next week. I wanted to see you.
Cut to the inside of Susanna and Georgina's room that day. Tobias and Susanna are making out furiously on the floor. Click, swish. Greta opens the door.
Check. Sorry.
Greta closes the door. Toby pulls from Susanna, red-faced. He stands, but Susanna starts undoing his belt buckle.
No. We have 10 minutes.
We cut to the hallway 10 minutes later. Janet, MG, and Cynthia are giggling. Polly has her ear to Susanna's door. Lisa sits in her swivel chair, smoking.
Ort, what are you doing?
Polly rocks back on her heels, impish.
Nothing.
Then why don't you go to your room and do nothing?
Polly suddenly bursts out crying and runs down the hall, past Greta, who approaches with her clipboard doing checks. Lisa slides on her chair between Greta and Susanna's door.
Hey, Greta.
Hey, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Greta moves around Lisa, who adjusts her chair, again blocking Greta.
Lisa, I have to do my checks.
And to wait 5 more minutes would be what? A dereliction of duty?
At the station, Val notices Lisa blocking Greta.
What if I had a punctured artery?
Lisa, stop it.
What would you do? Ignore my wound? Go about on your appointed rounds?
Greta tries to move past Lisa, but Lisa takes the pen from Greta's clipboard and holds it to her neck.
You take 1 more inch, I will jam this into my fucking aorta.
Val grabs the pen from behind.
Your aorta's in your chest.
Val crosses to Susanna's door and opens it. Tangled and half-dressed, Susanna and Toby fall over.
You have grounds privileges, Susanna, so why don't you two take a walk?
Cut to outside South Belknap in the late afternoon. It's raining. Susanna squints and bundles herself up. Toby pulls up his collar. He takes Susanna's hand and veers their steps toward the parking lot.
The cafeteria is that way.
Keep walking. Those are my wheels up ahead.
His red Beetle comes closer. Susanna looks back to the ward. She lets go of Toby's hand.
What are you doing?
They're at the car. Tobias opens the door for her and smiles.
We're going to Canada.
She looks at the car and him, still smiling. She looks at the long winding road leading down the hill toward town.
Susanna, you're not crazy. You don't need to be here.
I tried to kill myself.
You took some aspirin.
A bottle.
And that buys you a year in this place? Bullshit. They're breaking you. It's 1968. Everything's changing. What do they know about normal?
Susanna looks back at South Belknap. Rain pelts her face, and Lisa stands in the window, watching.
I have friends here, Toby.
Who? Them? Those girls?
Susanna stares at the wet ground beneath her feet.
Susanna, they're eating grapes off the wallpaper. They're insane.
If they are, then I am.
Come with me, please, Susanna. I think I love you.
Susanna looks at him, stunned. She laughs, then suddenly begins to weep. Toby reaches for her hand, but she pulls away fiercely. She shields her face, crying.
My dad gave me $5,000. We can build a cabin in the woods. We can be happy up there.
Susanna laughs, sadly, long past this kind of fantasy.
You want to leave, don't you?
I do, but not with you.
This hits Toby hard. He looks away, his eyes moist. Susanna smiles gently as hot tears run down her cheeks. Their eyes meet, wet, close raindrops between them. We cut to inside at the windows. Lisa, through the glass, riveted and watching. Susanna and Toby are in the parking lot. Holly watches too, wet-eyed, at her window as Toby's car disappears. Susanna trudges back to the ward. Holly's eyes move to her own reflection on the glass. She stares at herself, touching the curdled skin.
My face. My face.
We cut to Susanna and Georgina's room that night. Georgina sleeps soundly. John quietly fixes the ceiling light from a ladder. Susanna lies on her side, noiselessly spitting out pills and dropping them in the heater vent. When John glances at her, she pretends she's asleep. He goes back to work, fastening a metal cage over the bulb. Susanna opens her eyes again. John's pants are falling down a bit. She smiles. He quietly climbs off the ladder and looks at Susanna. She is asleep. He steps toward her bed, standing over her. A breeze blows in the window. Crickets sing. He gently tucks her in, then takes the ladder, snaps off the light, and moves quietly away.
Why did you do that?
John stops in his tracks and turns.
Fix a light bulb at night.
I'm not here in the morning, and that's when you like to draw pictures and stuff.
Oh.
John opens the door, heading out.
John.
He stops again, his back to her.
Why do you like me?
John turns, and Susanna's eyes are filled with tears.
I just like you, that's all. I wish you were getting better, though. I'd like to take you to the movies or something someday.
There's a silence. Susanna smiles too.
That would be nice.
She wipes her tears away. Suddenly, there's a shriek from down the hall.
My face! My face! My face!
John heads off toward the sound. McWeenie rushes past. The screams continue, and Susanna listens wide-eyed to the off-screen radio play. A loud clatter. as Polly is restrained. Doors are slammed and her misery is suddenly muffled.
And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and the smoke of their...
Susanna looks to Georgia, fast asleep. Georgina, fast asleep. She rolls into her pillow, covering her head. We cut to later in the hallway. Down the hall, Polly wails inconsolably, muffled. Susanna steps out of her room, sleepy-eyed. Lisa sits in a swivel chair, awake, and at least her eyes are open, spinning the chair in soporific circles.
What happened?
What needs to happen? No one's ever gonna kiss her, man.
Lisa looks toward the television. On the screen is a map of Florida. Images of Walt Disney, maps, and construction equipment are also displayed.
Building a new Disneyland in Florida. If I could have any job in the world, I'd be professional Cinderella. You could be Snow White.
Susanna snorts a laugh. Lisa looks toward the seclusion room. Polly's muffled sobbing continues.
Polly could be Minnie Mouse. Everyone would be hugging her. No one would even know because she'd be inside that head.
Susanna smiles sadly. She looks toward McWeenie, who is slumped over, asleep in the nurse's station. Lisa meets Susanna's eyes.
Give me your keys.
Susanna takes the keys and crosses down the hall. Lisa watches Susanna, then crosses to the nurse's station. McQueenie is snoring, breathing through an open mouth. We cut to the inside of the pantry/music room, which doesn't sound like a thing, but it is. Susanna loads her arms with musical instruments. We cut to the inside of the nurse's station. Lisa crumbles several pills into her palm. She leans in the Dutch door of the nurse's station and drops the powder in McQueenie's mouth. We cut to outside the seclusion room. Polly's still crying. Instruments dumped to the floor. Lisa smirks at Susanna, awkwardly holding a guitar.
Hey, Polly, it's Susanna.
She nudges Lisa, who rolls her eyes.
And Lisa,
Polly continues crying.
just play something. If talking did shit, we'd all be out of here by now. I don't know. She likes music.
Susanna starts to... Oh, no.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Susanna starts to strum and tries to find the chords. She sings in an imperfect but pretty voice.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown.
There's a part where John comes in.
Oh. McWeenie's gonna wake up.
Here we go.
Where are? Oh, here we go. Okay, McWeenie's gonna wake up.
Yeah, we've moved down to where John.
I didn't want to like force you through the whole thing, but I also
Yeah, it was kind of hard to gauge. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a
I was
back and
waiting
forth
for
that
the
was just
narrator's
not
line.
gonna
I'm
happen.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna join in later. I wasn't gonna leave you like that. I just didn't know when.
You realize how many times we have done live singing in this group and the amount of experiences that have happened, right?
I was also Googling and trying to find the genre, and
You're totally fine.
Yeah. You're good.
All right, so we'll just go to McWeenie's gonna wake up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and repeat it, Cav. Or Cat.
Yeah. McWeenie's gonna wake up.
no, she's not. Downtown.
John looks cute when he's pissed.
Yeah.
Susanna beckons him with her finger. leans her hands and kisses him. Lisa takes the guitar and continues singing as John and Susanna make out on the floor. We cut to the seclusion room. Pink sunrise seeps into the window. Polly is huddled in a corner in a straitjacket, singing.
R-E-S-P-C-T. That is what it means to me.
We cut to the inside of South Belknap at dawn. There's pale pink dawn light. Susanna is curled up in John's arms. She wakes, spying Val stomping off their feet in the lobby. Lisa is out cold on the floor. MG spooning with her, toys cymbals in her hands. Susanna pries herself away from John. He wakes and their eyes meet. She smiles tenderly and scurries away. Val stands over McWeenie, asleep on the floor of the nurse's station. They look down the hall as Susanna disappears into her room. We cut to Susanna and Georgina's room. Susanna, in her bed, is feigning sleep. Val is pissed off with her arms folded in the doorway.
I have to write this up, Susanna.
We cut to Dr. Wick's outer office that day. Susanna sits in a vinyl chair, exhausted. Beside her is Margie. Arlene reads the Marilyn Monroe Life magazine that the security guard was reading at Wick's desk.
Is she here?
Inside the office, we see Susanna pushing open the door. It's dark inside. The only light is seeping through the blinds. There are clouds of cigarette smoke. Susanna sees the cracked wallpaper in the corner that's in the shape of Florida. A woman, 60, with bright eyes, sits in the shadows behind a desk, smoking. Reading Susanna's file, there's a precision to her manner. Susanna sits in a leather chair. The desk plate reads, S.G. Wick, M.D. Mr. Wick speaks without looking up. Her accent is South African. Come here, dude.
No, it's not.
No, we're just gonna have a puppy hang out here in a second.
Oh no, I mean her accent is not South African.
Welcome to the player's new blog.
Hi, Razzmatazz.
Can you sit so everyone can see your face?
Hello.
Yeah, this is Gaston.
Oh my goodness.
This boy.
He's a good boy. Okay, can we go over here? Let everyone have their time. Sorry, but my door doesn't close.
No.
Continue.
We welcome all Pavis here. Good morning, Susanna.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, I guess.
Dr. Wick looks up from the file.
You look tired.
I am.
Why is that?
Polly went crazy last night. We sang to her, Lisa and I.
Did it soothe her, your singing?
She stopped crying.
Have you become friends with Lisa?
Why, is that bad?
Does it feel bad?
No.
Did you have many girls before you came here?
Not really.
Would you say before you came here your friends consisted mainly of boyfriends? Men?
Susanna lights a cigarette and looks at the folder in Wick's hand.
Does it say in there that I'm promiscuous?
Why did you use that word?
Should I say horny?
You should say what you mean. Do you consider yourself promiscuous?
No, but you do.
What makes you think that?
How many guys would I have to sleep with to be promiscuous, textbook promiscuous?
What do you think?
10, 8, 5. How many girls would...
There we go. Okay, sorry. There were a lot more numbers and I was looking at the wrong numbers. Wick did not react to that.
How many girls would a boy my age have to sleep with to be promiscuous? 10, 20, 109?
Someone who is compulsively promiscuous might engage in a sex act with a guest in their room and then engage with another sex act on the same day with an orderly.
Susanna is stunned, then laughs.
John? All I did was kiss him. Am I in trouble for kissing an orderly or for giving my boyfriend a blowjob?
Is there something about sex that grounds you? Lifts your feelings of despair?
Yes.
What is that?
Have you ever had sex?
Wick says nothing. The clock ticks loudly.
This is called resistance, isn't it? What I'm giving you?
Resistance is revealing. Freud thought analysis was essentially the analysis of a patient's resistance to analysis.
Oh, did he?
Yes. Melvin says you have many theories about your illness, one of which is that there is a mystical undertow in life, a quicksand of demons that sucked you into a parallel universe.
Another one of my theories is that you guys don't know what you're doing.
Still, you acknowledge a problem, coping with this quicksand.
I have a problem coping with this hospital. I want to leave.
I can't do that.
I signed myself in. I want to sign myself out.
You signed yourself into our care. We decide when to release you. You're not ready, Susanna.
Because I won't finger paint or pretend that I'm a tree?
Your progress has plateaued.
Susanna receives this, unblinking.
This disappoints you.
Not really. I'm ambivalent. That's my new favorite word. In fact, ambivalent.
Do you know what it means? Ambivalence. Textbook ambivalence.
I don't care.
If it's your favorite word, I would think that you...
It means I don't care. That's what it means.
On the contrary, Susanna, ambivalence means strong feelings in opposition. The prefix, like in ambidextrous, meaning both. The rest from Latin means bigger. The word suggests you're torn between two opposing courses of action.
Will I stay or will I go?
Am I sane or am I crazy?
Those aren't courses of action.
They can be, dear, for some.
Well, I guess it's the wrong word then.
No, I think it's perfect.
The clock seems to tick even louder.
It's a very big question you're faced with, Susanna, the choice of your life. How much will you indulge your flaws? Are your flaws your music, your identity? If you embrace them as one should embrace their identity, then you may commit yourself to life in hospital. Big questions, big choices. Only natural you'd profess carelessness about them.
Susanna stands and stubs out her cigarette.
Is that it?
For now.
Susanna slams the door. We cut to the interior of the administration building, the hallway. Margie walks with Susanna in tow, taking her from Wick's office. Susanna's very pissed. Coming up the hall, Greta escorts Lisa. Lisa's uncooperative, her feet scuffing. As they pass, Susanna blurts,
Remember that place where the floor dips?
Lisa replies, sluggish and turning back.
The door to the left?
We should take it.
Greta takes Lisa around the corner into Wick's office. We cut to the TV room in South Belknap. Susanna sits, staring, dead-eyed at the TV.
She's been a zombie for 2 days.
Holly, looking much better, stands with Janet. They stare at Susanna. Polly approaches her.
Hey, Susanna.
Susanna does not react. Val is watching.
Daisy sent us a postcard of her apartment. She got a kitty cat.
Susanna turns, glassy-eyed and distant.
Where's Lisa?
They put her in another ward. She'll be back.
We cut to Susanna and Georgina's room later. Val enters. Susanna is lying on the bed in a smock. limp, staring at her hand. Her hair is stringy.
I think you need to get up.
I'm just gonna rest for a while.
Val picks Susanna up like a rag doll. We cut to the hydrotherapy room. We see Val dumping Susanna in a big bathtub.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry, is it too cold?
Where the fuck is Lisa? Oh, sorry.
Nope, you got it. Keep going.
I have no idea. Think you can survive without her?
This place is fascist bullshit.
I used to work in state hospitals. Compared to them, this is a 4-star hotel.
Get me the fuck out of this tub.
You think you're at some goddamn sorority house? You think you got some little disease like chicken pox and we should cure you? I got news for you, honey. The brain ain't as simple as a lung or a bone.
Melvin doesn't have a clue, and Wick is a psycho, and you don't know shit. You're an uneducated South Boston nursemaid.
Val walks out.
Get me out!
The door slams. Susanna stands there, dripping in the harshly lit room. She climbs out of the tub, clinging to the rails, cursing and crying. She walks across the tile, shivering, and grabs the robe that Val's left. We cut to Susanna and Georgina's room. Crickets sing. Moonlight. Susanna sleeps in her bed, and she hears a creak. She opens her eyes, and Lisa is standing directly over her, shrouded in darkness.
Are you my friend?
We cut to Lisa leading Susanna down the dark hall that night.
We need money, don't we?
You've been tugging your pills, right?
Lisa unlocks the pantry/music room door.
But
Lisa spins around, the first time we've seen her in light. Desperate, wild-eyed, she pins Susanna against the wall.
It gave me shocks, Maddie. I gotta get out of here.
Susanna, I'm Susanna.
We cut to the exterior of the McLean grounds. A security car approaches, causing Lisa and Susanna to hit the ground. It passes, and they immediately scramble to the bottom of the hill, over a fence to the 2-lane road. Lisa affects a new posture, carefree. She begins walking backwards, thumbs out.
Lisa, where are we going?
Lisa hands Susanna a wadded envelope. Susanna opens it.
Please give Daisy Randazzo assistance in installing a telephone at 23 Revere, number 4. It's important for us to have access to one another via telephone.
A car approaches and passes.
I thought we were going to Florida.
It's just a place to crash till we get tickets.
Lisa grins as a psychedelic VW van approaches. The Rolling Stones are blaring, its headlights in Lisa's eyes. The van slows. A sliding door opens. It's a raucous group. Grinning and friendly, 2 guys and a girl. We cut to the interior of their VW van as they travel. The Rolling Stones are playing on the 8-track. Lisa is in heaven, giddy. She does her nails in bright red. She passes the polish to Susanna, who bobs her head to the music. 2 guys sit up front, passing a joint between them. Lisa takes a toke, offering it to Susanna, who takes some. The driver nudges the stoned guy, smoking a joint behind him.
Enough time for you?
Yeah.
The stoned guy drops $2 bills in the driver's hand.
You ready for this? He bet me you were escapees from McLean. I said no way.
Lisa takes the money out of the driver's hand.
Womp. You lose.
It's very quiet in the car. Suddenly, Lisa, Susanna, and the others break into a weed-enhanced laughing jag. We cut to a Boston coffee shop that morning. Susanna and Lisa sip coffees. Lisa is beaming with the freedom. Susanna looks overwhelmed and frightened.
Give me your pills.
Susanna hands over a stash of meds, and Lisa sorts them.
We'll keep a few. There's a guy who buys Valium. He hangs out a couple of blocks from here by the museum.
Susanna looks up and Lisa lights a cigarette.
What museum?
We cut to a sign that reads museum, free for students. 2 McLean ID cards slapped down. The ticket person looks closely at the cards, and Susanna and Lisa smile like good little girls.
That's funny. I thought McLean was a...
They converted it. It's school now.
We cut to the inside of the Gardner Museum gift shop. Lisa is in a trance, shoplifting, slipping trinkets into her coat pockets. She smiles at Susanna, who watches, nervous among the art books. Susanna feels the stares of security guards and patrons. She shuffles out, and we cut to the interior of the Gardner Museum galleries. Susanna wanders through. She's self-conscious. Everyone seems to be looking at her. Old ladies, children, guards, and even a young woman in a painting. A beautiful painting of a young girl having a music lesson. But she's facing out of the picture, looking at Susanna. Her mouth is slightly open as if she were about to say something.
I believe you all remember Hercules.
An art teacher leads 10 well-dressed private school seniors to a portrait of Hercules holding a surprise nutcake. Some girls are giggling at the painting. Among them,
Maureen.
Sorry.
2 boys notice Susanna, who turns away nonchalant.
This way, I want to show you the Vermeer.
They move to the painting of the staring girl.
Girl interrupted at her music. Extraordinary, isn't she?
I wouldn't kick her out of bed.
A bunch of boys laugh. Connie, obnoxious, raises her hand.
Connie.
Well, it's an excellent example of muted light among Flemish masters.
Dutch. Flemish. Dutch. Vermeer was Dutch, asshole.
Forget the encyclopedia. Just look at the damn painting. What is she saying?
Susanna looks at the teacher admirably. The teacher's eyes meet hers, and then she refocuses on her class.
Get me some new hair?
What do you think she's saying, Maureen?
Maureen stands directly beside Susanna. She looks back at the painting, thoughtful.
Her teacher's bearing down on her to get her to pay attention. But she's looking out as if she's trying to...
Maureen turns, meeting eyes with Susanna. Susanna takes a step back, almost recoiling.
She's trying to get out of the painting.
The whole class turns and stares at Maureen. Close up on Susanna, disturbed, looking up at the painting. The staring girl. The piano. The distant sound of a piano rises.
Don't you think?
Susanna turns and she's entering a dark house. An off-screen piano plays. A Chopin Polonaise. We're in the interior of the Kaysen house. In the kitchen. In another flashback. The dog sleeps beneath an armchair. The music continues. One awkward passage is repeated over and over. Susanna moves past the dog toward the library. A frustrated slam of the piano keys. And then the music resumes. Susanna rounds a corner and enters the library. Her mother, Annette Kaysen, sits in the dark playing piano. A bourbon by the keyboard. She stops and looks up.
I played that once in a concert at the conservatory ages ago.
Why did you stop playing?
Well, I had a child, didn't I?
Annette goes back.
Where's Dad?
Thesis review. We're on our own tonight. You need to go to market. Get us some steaks.
A hand jerks Susanna's shoulder. We're back at the museum.
Come on. I'm over this joint.
Susanna spun around, standing in the gallery. Her eyes filled with emotions. Lisa is concerned.
How long have we been here?
Don't come unglued on me.
We cut to outside the park, outside the museum, at a stickball game that day. Lisa gestures wildly at a seedy-looking guy beneath the backstop. The seedy guy just keeps shrugging. No luck. Susanna leans on a mailbox smoking. Two of the ball players, a handsome boy and his tough guy friend, keep their eyes on Susanna. And then we cut to the inside of a drug party at a dilapidated Boston house that night. Trippy cool music plays loud. It is crowded with people in tie-dye and R-Crumb t-shirts, a big bong and a haze of smoke and rainbow-colored lights. As a stark contrast with the preppy party in Susanna's past. Lisa is working on the tough guy, flirting and kissing. She moves with him into the back room. Susanna is on the couch. A handsome boy, Tony, paws her. He's very high, which is probably why it's considered pawing. He climbs into her lap and she giggles.
Tony, you don't want me.
Yes, I do, baby.
I'm a crazy girl.
You're crazy, so we can't have one night of bliss?
No, I'm like really crazy.
You've been in a hospital?
She nods.
You see purple people?
She shakes her head.
My friend, he saw purple people. So the state, they put him away. He didn't like that. So one day he told him he didn't see purple people no more.
He got better?
Nah, he still sees them.
Lisa steps out of the back room.
Come on.
Susanna sits up as Lisa holds the door, smiling at Tony.
We gotta split. Now.
Susanna follows Lisa out the door and down the hall. And we cut to inside of a city cab that night. Susanna watches the lights, rubbing her temples. Lisa fumbles through the tough guy's wallet. She finds $10 and hands it to the driver. And then she throws the wallet out the window.
23 Revere Street.
We cut to the exterior of a Boston street corner on Revere Street. A quiet block, brownstones converted to apartments. Susanna looks around and the street sign says Revere Street. Lisa grins, pointing to an illuminated billboard. If you lived here, you'd be home by now. And then we got to inside 23 Revere Street in a brownstone hallway, number 4. Through the door, there's a TV running. We hear the national anthem. Susanna knocks. No answer. She knocks again.
Identify yourself.
It's Susanna and...
Lisa stops her and shakes her head no.
It's Susanna. Daisy?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
I know. I needed someplace to crash.
Say the password.
What password?
Think of one.
Lisa is laughing, trying to keep it hush. Susanna thinks.
McWeenie.
The door unlocks. It opens a crack with the chain still on. We see Daisy's eye looking at Susanna.
You got Valium?
Susanna nods. Daisy unchains the door and Susanna enters. Then Daisy sees Lisa.
Hey, Daisy.
Daisy tries to close the door, but Lisa has wedged herself inside.
Daisy, peace, man. I wanted to come and say how sorry I was for being a bitch. I was a fucking drag. Please forgive me.
Daisy looks at Lisa wary. The following scene has a discussion and content regarding self-harm, sexual abuse, and incest. We see the inside of Daisy's studio apartment at night. There's orange shag carpeting, yellow drapes, impeccably neat. But it is so dark that there is a bluish caramel color to everything, eerily lit by moonlight and a throbbing television displaying a static shot of the American flag. Squawking out Stars and Stripes Forever. Daisy locks the door behind them. She wears a terry cloth robe and slippers.
Cool pad.
Thanks.
Lisa and Susanna stand uneasy in the dark room. Daisy shuffles to the.
I'll get some blankets.
Let me help.
No, stay here.
Lisa raises an eyebrow to Susanna and moves into the room. She fingers some of Daisy's trinkets on an end table, porcelain figurines of animals, an antique clock. Susanna watches Lisa, coveting the delicate knickknacks.
Don't take anything.
In the darkness, a chicken carcass sits on the counter. A gray cat licks at it, its eyes glowing in the shadows.
Meow.
Here, kitty kitty.
Lisa crosses, reaching for the cat. It splits and Lisa recoils. Daisy clomps down the stairs, arms filled with blankets.
That's Ruby. My dad bought her for me.
You named your cat after my arm.
It's a good name.
Daisy drops the blankets onto the couch and turns.
This is a Castro convertible. It pulls out. The bathroom's there.
Lisa looks in the bathroom. A mop propped in a small shower stall and a toilet.
Don't you have a tub?
Susanna unfolds the bed and spreads the sheets.
No, I don't.
What about upstairs?
No.
Lisa crosses to the refrigerator.
Did you two escape or what?
All you have in this fridge is mustard.
Susanna pulls off her jeans and climbs under the covers. Daisy snaps off the TV.
We're going to go to Florida tomorrow.
What are you going to do in Florida?
I'm going to be a professional Cinderella at Walt Disney's new theme park. Susanna's going to be Snow White. You can come if you want. You can be that cocker spaniel that eats spaghetti. I want to make pancakes.
There's a market on the corner.
I just want to sleep.
No, in the morning.
Pans are under the sink, silver's in the drawer.
Lisa pulls open the drawer and finds it full of silverware. Daisy washes a glass and fills it with water. Ruby the cat hops up on the fold-out bed. She parks herself in front of Susanna. The cat stares at her. Susanna smiles and reaches out very gently toward Ruby. The cat meets her fingers with the side of its head and purrs.
Do you guys have any money? You got a safety net down there?
Susanna looks up from the cat.
People you know? Relatives?
Yeah.
Daisy decides to press no further. She peels off a 5 from the wad of bills in her robe pocket and puts it on the counter.
For your pancakes. Don't make a lot of noise in the morning. I sleep late. I'll come down when I'm ready.
Lisa eyes Daisy. Daisy smiles uneasy.
Give me the Valium.
We don't need your daddy's money.
Then leave it there. Just give me the fucking Valium.
Daisy holds out her hand. Lisa sighs, holding out the pills. But she suddenly notices a red scab peeking out from the sleeve of Daisy's robe. Daisy reaches for the pills, but Lisa grabs Daisy's hand. Daisy jerks back. Her robe sleeve pulls way up, and we see all along her arm slashes, vicious slashes, scabbed.
What's this?
Let go.
Trying out your new silver?
Let fucking go.
Lisa!
Less appealing for daddy, huh?
Daisy jerks her arm away, swallows the pills, and growls.
Look at your own arm, asshole.
I'm sick, Daisy. We know that. But there you are in so-called recovery, playing Betty Crocker cut up like a damn Virginia ham.
Lisa, stop it!
Help me understand, Days. I thought you didn't do Valium. Tell me how that safety net is working for you. Tell me you don't drag that blade across your skin and pray for the courage to press down. Tell me your daddy helps you cope with that. Illuminate me.
Daisy smiles, tense. She speaks very quietly.
My father loves me.
I'll bet. With every inch of his manhood.
Daisy's eyes are black. She speaks with an airy calm.
You are an irredeemable cunt.
Daisy looks to Susanna, tears in her eyes.
I'm going to sleep now. Please be gone in the morning.
She turns back to Lisa, proud, plain.
You're just jealous, Lisa, because I was released, because I got better, because I have a chance at a life.
They didn't release you because you're better, Daisy. They just gave up. You call this a life? Taking daddy's money, buying his dollies and knickknacks, eating his chicken, fattening up like a prize heifer. You changed the scenery, baby, but not the situation. And the warden makes fucking house calls. Everyone knows he fucks you.
Halfway up the stairs, Daisy stops, head down.
What they don't know
Shut the fuck up!
is that you like it. Hey, it's okay. It's only natural. A man is a dick is a man, is a dick is a chicken, is a dad, a Valium, a speculum, a cucumber, whatever. It's all the same. You like being Mrs. Randazzo. It's probably all you've ever known.
Daisy rubs her head and turns away. Her body is collapsing as she mounts up the last steps.
Have fun in Florida.
The door upstairs closes. Lisa looks to Susanna, who crosses to the bathroom and slams the door. The following scene contains mention and content related to a drug overdose. We cut to Daisy's downstairs bathroom that night. Red-eyed and hyperventilating, Susanna opens the medicine cabinet. There's men's stuff. Vitalis, Noxima shave cream, deodorant. We hear a distant piano. Rubbing her temples, Susanna finds a bottle of aspirin, but it's empty. The doorknob jiggles.
Susanna, come on, open the door.
Susanna doesn't reply. She curls up in the shower stall. Water drips from the shower onto her shoes. We're suddenly in a dream or hallucination, and Susanna is a young child.
1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, close the door.
Susanna turns and sees herself on the floor of her bedroom playing jacks. Closer, we see she is playing jacks with aspirin tablets.
5, 6, pick up sticks.
Susanna tosses the ball up, scoops up tablets, and catches the ball, pops the aspirins into her mouth, washes them down with a swig of vodka. Downstairs, the piano playing stops cold. There's another go. This time, Susanna misses the ball. It rolls across the floor, but stopped by an empty 50-tablet aspirin bottle. Susanna's face hits the floor. Fading, she stares at a spider's web under the dresser. A beetle struggles, tangled.
Susanna, are you going to the market or not? I asked you an hour ago.
Susanna puts her hand to her mouth, queasy, and comes away with a palm full of blood. We cut to the interior of Daisy's studio apartment. The pink light of sunrise seeps through the window. Lisa sleeps in a tangle on the couch. California Dreamin' is playing upstairs, loudly. Susanna emerges from the bathroom, pale. She moves quietly past Lisa. She takes Daisy's $5 from the counter. We cut to the exterior of 23 Revere Street that morning. Susanna steps out of the building. A plane flies overhead. Ruby the cat tries to follow, but she shuts the door hard. Susanna steps into the sun, numb. She walks toward a market on the counter. Ruby is at her side, tagging along. Susanna doesn't even notice. Ruby sits on the sidewalk watching as Susanna walks on. We cut to inside the interior of a corner market. There's a small bodega. Susanna stands in an aisle holding a basket filled with bacon, eggs, and milk, staring at a box of pancake mix. Susanna takes the box, looks up, notices a hole in the shelves. Through the hole, she sees her younger self in the next aisle. Her younger self stands, woozy, in a bigger supermarket. There's blood on her chin, and she struggles to stay upright, stumbling across the aisle, and finds herself facing a wall of aspirin bottles and an announcement over the PA system.
In aisle 4, you could try Kraft's new Cheese Whiz, an aerosol can.
The present Susanna turns. She also stands now in the bigger, brighter market. Out of the mouth of the aisle, she sees younger Susanna hovering shakily over the meat section, horrified as she stares at 4 cellophane packages, each containing a fat white mound, ridgy and gelatinous. The ShopRite label reads brains. Susanna touches one of them. Suddenly, blood gushes from the surrounding meat packages, filling the recessed display, running over into the undulating linoleum. A great red puddle spreads around her feet. Young Susanna, about to collapse, looks up toward
Susanna?
Professor Gilchrist, pushing a cart at the end of the aisle. He moves toward young Susanna, passing our Susanna as young Susanna's legs fold. She sinks to the floor like a rag doll. I didn't memorize who all the colors were.
I think it's ginger.
Oh. I did the "Can I help you, dear?" and then it should go into present Susanna turns, right?
Oh, we didn't hear you.
Yeah, maybe you were
Oh.
muted.
Oh, well, can I help you, dear?
On it. Well, present Susanna now turns, overwhelmed by her vision. She is back in the small bodega, and a squat shop owner stands before her.
Has she come down?
Been playing that shit all morning.
Ruby the cat sits on the stairs. Meow. Susanna turns. The cat runs up the steps. Cut to the interior of Daisy's, upstairs, outside Daisy's room, morning. Trigger warning for this section around suicide. The mamas and the papas blast through the door.
Daisy. Daisy.
Dread washes over Susanna. She opens the door. The room is empty. Just a turntable on repeat, playing in Mamas and Papas on 45. The song restarts. Susanna turns. Ruby the cat paws at the bathroom door. Susanna pushes it open. Drip. Drop. Blood drips into 2 dark pools on the tile. Hanging from the overhead fixture, Daisy has cut her wrists and hung herself with a belt. Susanna gasps for air. She holds on to the door to keep from keeling over, her face ashen, her breathing labored, her gag reflex contracting. The mamas and the papas keep playing.
What an idiot.
Lisa stands at the door, hardly reacts at all, a bare flicker of emotion in her eyes. She stares at Daisy's lifeless body. Susanna stumbles to Daisy's room to the phone, dials.
I need an ambulance.
Make it a hearse.
I think she killed herself. Daisy Randazzo, 23 Revere. It's an apartment, number
4.
4. Yes, please hurry.
Susanna hangs up as Lisa steps around the blood. She kicks the cat away and reaches into Daisy's robe. Daisy's body swings gently. Lisa finds a wad of bills.
You pressed all her buttons and now you're taking her money?
Lisa pads out of the bathroom. She looks Susanna in the eye.
I didn't press shit. She was waiting for an excuse.
Lisa tucks the cash in Susanna's breast pocket and moves to the stairs.
Pack up. We have to get out of here.
Susanna turns from Lisa in disgust. She sits down in the bathroom doorway. Tears run down her face.
Susanna, don't be stupid.
Susanna looks at Lisa. Her eyes say it all. She's staying.
All right. Be stupid.
Lisa heads downstairs. The mamas and the papas continue. Susanna sits there, listening to Lisa's ransacking downstairs. Then a door slams. Daisy's body swinging gently in the background. Ruby nuzzles against Susanna's leg. Susanna takes the cat, holding it, and suddenly she shudders, and there is a crack of thunder and a gust of wind. A siren rises. The window opposite Susanna flies open, and rain pours in from outside. A knock on the door downstairs.
Hello? Hello?
Up here.
A phasing organ rises. A drum pounds a funereal rhythm. High angle down on Susanna in the bathroom door. 2 medics barrel up the stairs. Cut to the exterior of 23 Revere Street during the day. It's raining, and rain pours down. The funeral drum continues. Daisy's covered body is wheeled into an ambulance. Melvin pulls up in a car. He emerges, looking about, ashen as the ambulance pulls away in the rain. Susanna sits with Ruby, smoking beneath an awning. Cut to the interior of Melvin's car, driving back to McLean. It is day and it's raining. The wipers churn. Susanna leans against the glass, deep in thought. Rain drips past her face, with Ruby held against her chest. She is very beautiful at this moment. Melvin drives, grim. We've never seen him like this before. He's clearly shaken, lost in his world. Susanna turns, cocks her head. She looks at Melvin. He does not meet her eyes. She continues to stare, and he says nothing. The wipers keep churning. Susanna turns back to the moving world. On a main street, they pass shoppers scurrying to their cars. A mother pushes her crying child to a station wagon. Susanna speaks quietly.
Does every crazy person have a secret?
The question hangs there in the air. After a beat, Melvin replies, curt.
What are you talking about?
Like in the movies. Like in Marnie, where she remembers her mom was a whore and murdered the sailor, or in Psycho, where he doesn't want anyone to know his mother is dead. Or like Daisy with her dad.
The wipers continue.
Sometimes there is no secret.
Then why do people go crazy?
A therapist without an answer to the question of his life.
I don't know.
Maybe they're just broken. Maybe their circuits are crossed and they just want to blame somebody for their bad luck.
Maybe.
Maybe happiness is just another commodity like pork bellies or crude oil. Maybe there's only so much of it to go around.
Maybe.
Maybe they think too much.
Maybe.
A car passes, throwing water.
You know, I see things and I look at things and I see patterns and people. I stare at my hand and sometimes it has no bones, but I don't know what that means. I move through it and around it. I go backwards and forwards, but there's nothing. It's just a childhood. There's no secret in my past. I didn't set myself on fire. I wasn't molested. There were some sad people, some mistakes, but no like big secrets. And if it all doesn't mean anything, Melvin, if there's no big secret, then I'm just losing time. All the time. I'm losing time. I'm broken. I'm a zombie. I'm the saddest crazy of all. I have no one to blame. I'm a broken refrigerator and my thoughts are all misfires and somebody just kick me.
Someone just did.
Susanna thinks about this, wipes tears from her eyes. Out the window, through the rain, McLean approaches. The wipers keep going. Cut to the interior of South Belknap in the lobby. It's late afternoon. Janet, MG, Polly, Georgina, and Cynthia in the TV room. They fall silent as Susanna enters, holding Ruby. She walks past them, wordless. All eyes are on her. Melvin nods to Lillian.
Send someone for a litter box.
Cut to the interior of South Belknap, Susanna and Georgina's room. Sunset. Susanna lies in the bed, Ruby on her belly. Georgina enters. Are you okay? A clatter of scuffing shoes. MG, Janet, Polly, and Cynthia awkwardly shuffle into the doorway. They all smile sweetly.
Can I pet the kitty?
Susanna hands Ruby to Polly, who takes it very carefully. All the others surround Polly and Ruby, cooing, jealous.
Just be careful.
Susanna lies back when she closes her eyes. Cut to the interior of Susanna and Georgina's room. Morning. Click, swish.
Sorry, checks.
Susanna sits in bed writing. It is dark. Margie snapped on the overhead light.
You're going to ruin your eyes.
Cut to South Belknap, hydrotherapy room, morning. Susanna sits in the bubbling tub. Val walks in with a razor and sits down.
Hey.
Val hands the razor to Susanna and looks away.
Where's John?
Move to men's.
Susanna nods sadly, shaves her legs.
Why don't we try to have Danny come back on this?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. That's not as much of a lag as anyone has happened lately. All right. So we cut to the inside of Melvin's office. There is a warning for this scene about doctors' abuse of power. We enter Melvin's office and he smokes. He looks awful, dead. Susanna stares out the window sadly.
You shouldn't have let her out.
I didn't have a choice, Susanna. Her father wouldn't pay anymore.
You're rationalizing, Melvin.
Melvin looks at her, angry.
She really wanted to die. She killed herself 2 ways.
Susanna turns from the window and Melvin's eyes are dead. It dawns on her.
You were screwing her too.
Melvin says nothing, numb.
I knew you wouldn't let me keep rotting chickens in my room unless...
There are tears in Melvin's eyes. Susanna asks, but not really asks.
You don't mind if I see Dr. Wick from now on, do you?
Melvin shakes his head. We cut to the outside of the McLean grounds in the afternoon. Susanna walks the grounds with Polly, Janet, and Greta. Polly joyfully chases the butterfly with Ruby on a leash. Susanna sees John throwing trash into a dumpster. Susanna crosses to him. He looks up, angry, and moves away.
John.
I'm not supposed to talk to you.
Come on.
I don't feel like losing my job, all right?
Hey, I'm sorry.
For what? Kissing me?
John turns. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no. I'm sorry you got in trouble for it.
It's okay. It wasn't going to amount to much, was it? Just another rich girl game?
What are you talking about?
You people are different, that's all. I could have gone to Harvard for how much it cost your dad to keep you here.
John smiles, hurt, and walks away. Susanna is deeply stung. In the background, Polly cackles with joy, playing with the cat. We cut to inside the hall outside Daisy's room that night. Val stands slumped in Daisy's old doorway, smoking. She holds a map.
You're not supposed to smoke on duty.
Report me.
Susanna sees that Val has tears on their face. As soon as their eyes meet, more tears come to Val.
There's a new girl coming. I've cleaned this room 6 times and I can't get the smell of chicken out of here.
Susanna smiles. They both laugh and hold each other. Val strokes Susanna's hair and touches her cheek.
I'm sorry about what I...
You were right. You were right. I have to get down to business.
You just lived through something intense. What you got to do now is take your time.
Susanna looks up at Val.
I'm out of time.
We cut to Susanna's room. Leaf-laced light plays on the ceiling. No monster. Susanna is in bed, her face scrunched, checking her hand. Ruby lies on her belly, watching her, curious. Susanna looks back to her journal, scribbling, and Susanna voices over.
Thought is a hard thing to control.
We cut to the dining room in the morning. Susanna eats her breakfast. All the girls eat around her, but she speaks to no one. Hi, Raz.
Many things we do, like breathing or digestion, require no thought at all.
We cut to inside the art therapy room that day. The other girls giggle and pass time as Susanna works on a finger painting of a giant tongue. It's the mother of all tongues, humongous, radiating light, curvaceous and strong. The paint is thick and luminous.
In fact, you can screw up your bodily functions thinking about them, for instance.
We cut to Susanna lying face up on a leather couch. Her voiceover becomes present dialogue. She continues speaking as she stares at the ceiling.
You're about to stand up and put your dishes away after breakfast, and suddenly you think about your tongue.
All been there. We are now in the interior of my dogs being crazy. They're okay. Once they lay down, they're fine. We are inside Dr. Wick's office that day in the autumn. Dr. Wick sits in her leather chair, taking notes and listening. Red and orange leaves blow outside her window.
And once you think about your tongue, suddenly it becomes the intrusion in your mouth. And you think, why is it so large? And why is it scratchy on the side?
Very subtly, Dr. Wick plays with her tongue in her mouth.
Maybe you can remove it. Then there'd be more room. But what's really amazing is just from thinking about it, your tongue has become enormous. And all of a sudden it's this fat, swollen thing inside of your mouth.
That's what she said. And I cannot say that I was that smart, but someone put it in there, and I really wanted
Ginger!
What do you do?
You try to think it's smaller?
Wick smiles. Good answer.
How do you do that?
I don't know. Maybe something happens, like you hear a bird sing or the radio or something, and while your brain is somewhere else, your tongue gets smaller. But then thinking of it smaller makes it big again. All of this took 5 minutes, and all I want to do is scrape off my dishes.
So maybe it takes 5 minutes for you to scrape off your dishes.
Sorry, guys. My cursor wasn't clicking.
It's not.
Wick smiles. Good answer. No, I did that. Yeah.
It's not efficient.
Yeah.
Perhaps, but perhaps the essence of you is not efficient.
I'm sure if they could say it right now, Susanna would turn from the ceiling looking for the first time at Dr. Wick, and she smiles in a way we've never seen.
You may think maybe I'm gifted. Maybe I have like ESP or something, and I'm actually the next stage of evolutionary development, and the one gets it because they're so stupid? Or no one gets it because they're so stupid?
Could be.
Out the window, a breeze takes and rattles the glass.
You think I can be home by Thanksgiving?
I'd be happy to give you a weekend pass.
No, if I get out, I want it to be real. I haven't had any shit happen for weeks.
Except your tongue.
Come on, Sonia. Isn't the whole point that it's never going away?
The point is control.
And here I am in control, sleeping sound, no headaches. Come on.
A long beat. Susanna is dead serious.
I'll consider it.
Transition to South Bell Camp. TV room, afternoon, winter. Snow falls through the frosted glass. Val and some of the girls take down paper turkeys. Cynthia and Janet rummage through a box of Christmas ornaments. Georgina sits, riveted, in front of the television. On TV, The Wizard of Oz, the annual CBS holiday telecast. The wizard takes off in a hot air balloon, leaving Dorothy behind. Dorothy cries, music surges. Susanna sits at the card table writing in her journal. She looks up at the television. On the screen, the great pink bubble of Glinda the Good floats down upon Emerald City.
You don't need to be helped any longer. You've always had the power to go back to Kansas.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
She wouldn't have believed me. She had to learn it for herself.
Susanna is amused. She turns to Georgina, tears drizzling. A peak moment. The bleat of a siren. Suddenly, there's a whole commotion among the nurses. Val looks out among the windows with dread. Susanna crosses to her room. The following scene will contain mentions of self-harm as well as police abuse. We cut to the inside of Susanna and Georgina's room. Ruby's watching curiously as Susanna stares out her window. Below, a police officer opens the back door of a squad car, extending his hand to help out Lisa. Oblivious, Polly enters Susanna's room, carrying the ukulele from the pegboard. She plucks a few notes.
Look what Val gave me.
Below, Lisa mouths a "fuck you, pig" to the cop. Her jeans are muddy, her elegant hands cuffed behind her back. Her lip is cut and her cheek is bruised. She's strung out.
I thought you weren't allowed to play with that.
Oh, fuck. I'm like, too many things. Val said the strings are too short to hang myself and too soft to cut myself. And life's too short to say no to me every goddamn day.
Susanna smiles, tense, and turns, looking out the door at Val and the others on alert as Lisa enters with the cops. Lisa is
Susanna
zombie-like,
smiles,
dead on.
tense, and
I think Danny gave up on the dream, so we're good to continue with the police officer.
Okay. Bought some bad PCP. I'm a pig. Okay. Character change. It's fine.
There's good PCP?
Val nods to an orderly who takes Lisa by the arms. She defiantly puts her arms over her head in a POW style. As she's escorted past Susanna's door towards seclusion, Lisa smiles at Susanna, her face battered. Cut to the interior of South Belknap, all outside seclusion in the morning. Through the messed glass, Lisa sleeps on a bare mattress. Susanna peers in, looking at her. She taps on the glass, but Lisa does not move. Susanna taps again. Lisa stirs. She sees Susanna through the door. Susanna smiles. Lisa crosses to the door. She tries to open it, but it's locked. She looks up, weary, her voice muffled through glass.
What do you want?
I just want to say, hey, it's been 3 months.
Lisa nods, softens, looks down.
Are you okay?
They're gonna put me through the grinder for a couple weeks.
Lisa looks up, meeting Susanna's eyes. She loops a finger through the steel mesh like a child. Tears well in her eyes.
I missed you.
Susanna smiles, pressing her finger against Lisa's through the glass. The moment is interrupted when Val calls.
Susanna, we're late.
Susanna turns. Val stands in the lobby, waiting. Susanna turns back.
I have to go, Dr. Wick.
They're still fucking with you?
I think actually, I know they're letting me out.
The last 3 words hang heavy in the air. They are devastating to Lisa, but she smiles through it.
Oh, that's great.
Cut to the interior of the doctor's meeting room in the late afternoon. Dr. Wick and Melvin sit behind a long table along with a hospital social worker, Mix Plimack. Me. Susanna is seated in front of them, beside Val.
When you leave tomorrow, Susanna, you become an outpatient, and it's essential there be a safety net in place.
Susanna nods.
This is Mix Plimack, your social worker.
Hi.
Can you fill me in on any arrangements you or your doctors have made?
They probably told you. Melvin got me a job starting next week at a bookstore at Harvard Square, and I got an apartment there and a phone so I can
Stay in contact.
And I'm going to see Dr. Wick twice a week.
And you're going directly to Cambridge from there?
No, I'm spending the weekend with my parents.
Melvin and the Mixed Plimack look to Dr. Wick.
You okay with this, Susanna?
Cut to the interior of South Belknap in the lobby at night. At the window, Janet and Susanna watch the snow falling, lit by the institution's vapor lamps. In the background, McWeenie hands out meds, calling names.
You're going to have a white Christmas. Susanna Kaysen.
McWeenie holds out a white cup containing 2 green pills.
What are these?
Sleeping pills, darling. Last night is always a long one.
Tempted to argue, Susanna throws back the pills like a pro. She turns and walks away, fitting them into her palm, pocketing them as she notices down the hall. MG squats at Lisa's room, the seclusion room. She scribbles in crayon, passing a note under the door. In seconds, the paper comes back, and MG reads it, cackling wildly, frighteningly. Cut to the interior of Susanna and Georgina's room later that night. A gentle snow falls outside the window. Georgina sleeps peacefully. Ruby sleeps curled up on Susanna's Samsonite case. Susanna lies in bed, wide awake. Suddenly, there is a blood-curdling scream down the hall, a woman's voice crying out hysterically. Susanna lies in bed, frozen, wide-eyed. She looks to Georgina, fast asleep. The off-screen screaming continues, and we hear Miss McWeenie's voice barking orders to an orderly. Susanna crosses the door. In the darkened hall, MG is hysterical, in a straitjacket. She is dragged out the main door by McWeenie and an orderly. The metal door slams, and the lobby is suddenly empty and quiet. It's moonlit. Susanna looks down the hall toward the seclusion room. A glow of green light is in its window. From somewhere we hear a meow. Susanna turns and heads quickly back into the room. She jumps back onto her bed. Reaching into the vents of her heater, producing the 2 green sleeping pills. She swallows them and lies back, staring upward. The wind rattles against the glass. A pull cord to the shades swing up from the draft, tapping on the glass. Tap, tap, tap-a-tap, tap. Leaf-laced moonlight plays and swirls on the ceiling. The shadows form a vague face. A man's face? We have seen this before in Susanna's bedroom. Susanna's eyes flutter with the onset of the drug.
No.
She closes her eyes. Again, from somewhere, a meow. Susanna's eyes open. She looks to her Samsonite case. Ruby is gone.
Ruby?
Is this where I'm dropping out? Okay.
We cut to the inside of South Belknap in the hallway that night. Susanna moves down the hall for the green light of the seclusion room door. She stops and checks in the door of Polly's room.
Polly?
Polly is gone. Just the person with the catatonia is sleeping. She walks on, closer to the seclusion room. The door is cracked open. Susanna pushes it further, and it creaks, and she peers in. It's empty. Just the scratched walls. But from somewhere, there's a cat's call. Susanna moves on down the hall, her heart racing. We cut to the inside of the hydrotherapy room. Water continues to drip. Susanna pads quietly past the glimmering chrome equipment. She spins around at the slightest sound. There's another meow.
Ruby.
We cut to the inside of the pantry/music room. The meows emanate from the dumbwaiter. A wind is blowing. The door of the pantry slams shut. Susanna backs away, hyperventilating. A shocking clatter of musical instruments. Susanna's backed into the pegboard, knocking everything down. She runs to the door, and it's locked.
Lisa!
Meow. Again, another meow from the dumbwaiter. We cut to inside the basement and the tunnels. Suzanne climbs from the dumbwaiter. She stands in the blackness and moves instinctively down from the wet, dark corridor. Creosote drips from the walls, making Rorschach-like designs. There's a burst of girlish laughter. Polly and Georgina. Then the sound, unmistakable, of Lisa silencing them.
Shut up!
Susanna spins in circles, looking about in the blackness. She knocks over some empty paint cans and they clatter loudly.
Lisa, where the fuck are you?
A cigarette glows orange, lighting Lisa's maniacal face.
Right here, baby. Why? Are you scared? Am I pushing your buttons?
Yes.
I read this thing in your little book. A cherished memory when you were 9 and got stuck in a haunted house at the fair. How sweet. I told the girls we should recreate it.
The cigarettes flicked away, and Lisa disappears into the darkness. And there's another burst of girlish laughter.
A going away present.
Again, silence, except for the yowl of a cat. A real cat. In the blackness, 2 hands touch Susanna's body. She screams and runs into the blackness down the tunnel. A flashlight snaps on, revealing Lisa with Susanna's journal. Georgina and Polly are in the background, getting confused by Susanna's decidedly unjoyful reaction. Polly holds Ruby.
Stop! She's too scared, Lisa.
Shut up, Polly.
Lisa reads from the journal.
Seat belted in this little car, in the dark with this man in the seat in front of me. His hands.
The light shines piercingly at Susanna. Susanna backs up as Lisa advances. They're heading toward the furnace room. Polly begins to cry. Georgina is bursting out with an episode.
Stop it. Fucking stop it, Lisa.
Lisa flips through the pages.
You know, it gets a bit redundant. The haunted house thing, the thing with you and your professor, and the Carmen Gia. Hands all over.
What the fuck are you doing, Lisa?
Playing the villain, baby. It's what you wanted, isn't it? I tried to give you everything you wanted.
What are you talking about?
You wanted your file. I got your file. You wanted out. I got you out. You needed money. I found you some. Needed a place to sleep. I got you one. I always told you the truth. You like that. I'm fucking consistent. I told Daisy the truth too. What everyone knew but wouldn't say. And she killed herself. I play the fucking villain, just like you wanted.
Why would I want that?
Because it makes you the good guy, Sweet Pea. You come back, your sweetness and light, sad and contrite. Everyone sits, wringing their hands, congratulating you on your bravery. Meanwhile, I'm blowing 3 guys on a bus station for the money that was in her fucking robe.
Susanna shakes her head, desperate and terrified. She runs toward the furnace room. Lisa lights another cigarette. She mutters to herself.
Oh, dark, Susie, borderline. But you're a fake. You can't even kill yourself, right, aspirin? It's like trying to overdose on chiclets.
Georgina smacks Lisa across the face.
You fucking bitch. You fucking sociopath. Leave her fucking alone.
Georgina runs to Susanna. Polly follows holding the cat. Lisa sits down on the floor, pulling out a hypodermic. We cut back to the inside of the furnace room. The flames of the furnace lick orange. Susanna cries, pacing about, looking for another exit. Polly and Georgina enter the dark tiled room. Polly is tearful. We hear footsteps. Susanna turns and sees Lisa approaching. She tries to shut the steel door, one hand on the knob, and one in the crevice of the jamb, trying to get it unstuck, trying to get it shut. Lisa jerks it open, crushing Susanna's hand in the door jamb. Susanna pulls back, staring at her limp, bloody hand with all those fingers broken. It looks just like her visions.
No.
She looks up, terrified at Lisa moving toward her, the hypodermic in her hand. There's smash, smash, smash. Georgina throws light bulbs at Lisa. Polly cowers behind the furnace, crying and holding Ruby.
You know what? There are too many buttons in the world. Way too many. All of them begging to be pressed. And it makes me wonder, why the fuck doesn't anyone ever press mine? Why am I so neglected?
Tears fill Susanna's eyes. Her face is grease-smudged. She holds her hand, walking backward.
Why doesn't anyone ever tell me I'm a fucking whore? Why doesn't anyone tell me how happy my family would be if I were dead?
Because you're already dead. You're the fucking walking dead. That's the real button, Lisa.
Lisa stops in her tracks, and there is fire in Susanna's eyes.
Your heart is cold and you're a zombie. No one cares if you die because you're dead already.
Lisa's arms drop to her sides.
You'll spend the rest of your life walking around these halls making people miserable.
Lisa stands there, Susanna's words ringing in her ears, stunned by them. No one's ever talked to her this way.
All this fucking time I've wondered what this thing looks like, this seductive black fucking monster. It looks like you!
Sorry, guys. A howl of wind. The transom window flies open. Suddenly, Lisa's muscles atrophy, and she melts to the ground in a heap, weeping like a baby. Susanna stands over here, tears in her eyes. Magnificent.
I wasted 2 fucking years. Maybe I'll see purple people and maybe everyone out there is mediocrity. In fact, I'm sure they are. Maybe the whole world is insane, imbalanced, and ignorant, but I'd rather be in it. I'd rather be fucking in it.
Lisa tries to jam a hypodermic into herself. Susanna takes it away, tossing it into a puddle. She rolls Lisa over. Lisa's eyes are red with anguish.
I am. I'm dead already.
Lisa cries, and she cries like a child. She rolls into Susanna's lap. Susanna strokes her hair, and behind the furnace, Polly watches, also weeping. She holds Ruby tightly. Georgina paces on the broken glass, singing to herself. Out of the meshed transom, dawn lights over the glistening snow. We cut to the inside of Self Belknap in the hallway on a new day. There's a close-up on a hand, gripping a small glass object, and we tilt up to Janet skittering down the hallway, avoiding nurses. She rounds a corner and bursts through a door. We cut to the bathroom, with Susanna, her arm in a sling, looking weary, putting on makeup. She's wearing one of the colorful dresses her mother packed in her case.
Did you get it?
Janet nods solemnly. She hands Susanna the glass object.
I had to trade with a trans woman in the men's ward for Soul on Ice.
We cut to the inside of the hallway in a max security ward. Dr. Wick emerges from a room through a bolted door, grim. She looks to Susanna, waiting with Val.
She's not speaking.
Susanna nods. We cut to the interior of the critical room at the max security ward. The door unlocks. Val lets Susanna in, a worried expression on their face. And they whisper,
You squawk and I'll be here, girl.
Susanna nods, approaching Lisa, who lies in a bed by a narrow window. She's heavily medicated. Susanna sits on a stool beside the bed. They both just sit there. Lisa's eyes lift and meet Susanna.
They cut my nails.
But your hands are still beautiful.
Lisa looks down at her long, tapering fingers. She tucks them in, hiding her short nails.
Here, give me your hand, Lisa.
Nothing broke. Lisa does as she's told. Susanna pulls out a bottle of red nail polish. This is what she'd gotten from Janet. She starts to paint what's left of Lisa's nails. Lisa looks up to Susanna, tears in her eyes. She's very frightened, and she speaks very quietly.
I'm not really dead.
Susanna looks up,
I know.
then goes back to painting Lisa's nails, and Lisa begins to weep.
I'm going to miss you.
No. You're going to get out of here and you're going to come see me.
Lisa nods obediently. She touches Susanna's hand. We cut to the nurse's station the next day. At the door, Val waits with Susanna's bag. She watches as Susanna hugs the girls goodbye. Janet, Cynthia, Georgina, tender exchanges, promises whispered. Polly looks away, trembling, holding Ruby out for Susanna. Susanna is about to take the cat from her.
Holly, if I leave Ruby here, will you take care of her for me? And then let me play with her when I come to therapy.
Polly nods rapidly, ferociously, blubbers a laugh of joy, and holds the cat to her chest. We cut to the exterior of McLean in the morning, and Susanna walking from the hospital with Val. She carries nothing but her Samsonite bag.
Well, I guess I better get more kitty litter.
They cross through the light snow toward a Boston cab idling in the cold air. Susanna sees John salting in a walkway.
John?
He turns.
Whatever's playing at the Lexington in Cambridge at 8 o'clock on Tuesday, I'm going to be there.
Okay.
He goes back to work, watching her with a smile.
Is he allowed to date an outpatient?
Honey, I can't even control what goes on in that ward. I let the world be.
Susanna smiles and tosses in her case. She looks at Val. Val takes her into their arms tightly.
Think of me when you shave your legs.
Susanna laughs. Val steps back, wiping the tears from their eyes. Susanna gets in the cab and closes the door. It starts up and lurches forward. Susanna lights a cigarette. Her eyes are riveted on Val. Val becomes a speck. We cut to a shot from the windows of the hospital, moving in on Melvin and Dr. Wick watching the cab drive away, and Susanna speaks in voiceover.
A recovered borderline, my final diagnosis.
Moving in on Polly, Janet, and Georgina in the TV room. They too look out the window, watching Susanna's cab move off.
If I'd been like Polly or Georgina, this story would be different. Tourette's, manic depression, anorexia. They have drugs for those now.
Moving in on Lisa, looking out her narrow window.
If I'd been schizophrenic like Lisa, you'd wonder how much I told you is true. People don't recover from that. Though Lisa did make a life for herself.
Susanna's car turns onto the main road, back to Susanna in the cab.
I was borderline. What that means, I still don't know. Words taint everything.
The normal world passes by her window. A little girl makes a snowman. Susanna turns, noticing the cab driver's ID card mounted on the dash. The name? M. Hoover. She looks at the driver, and their eyes meet hers in the rear view. They smile.
Hey,
Hey,
where are we going?
17 Burgle game.
Is that home?
Susanna smiles to herself and nods. We watch her from the outside. Clouds and trees move in reflection upon the glass. The gentle guitar rises. The voiceover continues.
Now when something weird happens, I ask myself, shit, am I still crazy? I ask myself, was I still really crazy then? Or was I like that girl in the painting, interrupted at the music of being 18?
Susanna turns and looks at us through the glass. She looks straight at us. Her eyes are big and brown and alive, just like in the painting. She sees us. George Harrison sings While My Guitar Gently Weeps. There's blackness. Susanna Kaysen is the author of 2 novels and the memoir, Girl Interrupted, which this movie was based on. She lives in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Bravo, everybody, bravo.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you to all the performers for your time, including the ones that had to scoot off. We hope that this was enlightening and entertaining and that you felt seen in seeing this performance. If you are able to, please donate to the American Association for the Suicide Prevention. And yeah, if you have any issues that have come up while watching this performance, you can reach out to us, but you can also reach out to the resources that are available. We'll have someone post those in our Facebook group so that if you want to get to those without talking to a human that's in this group, you can do that. And of course, they're readily available.
Tune in.
Any other thoughts?
Probably April 1st will be our next reading. Will be much lighter fare. I think we're doing Easy A, and then in May we're going to be doing some original stuff on May 21st for benefiting Danny as they get their surgery for all of the things.
Gonna yeet the ute.
You.
You're gonna yeet the Ute? Oh my god! What a great
I'm
phrase.
gonna try to. I'm
Ah.
trying.
Amazing. Yeah.
Also, let's
Missouri's
keep
trying to do the opposite, but I'm gonna go.
just get it just in time, I guess.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Let's also keep Ginger's family in mind as they have experienced a
Absolutely.
loss that's close to this cause. And if there's anyone out there who relates to this story, you know, or the themes of this story at least, we have professionals here, we have non-professionals here wanting to talk to you, and you are important.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Sticking with us at this late hour. This is probably our longest one, I think.
I think it's
Longer than The Matrix?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
But
way
yeah.
like with Dad and I.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.